as far as news is concerned in the last 24 hours. This is a live broadcast and we welcome your feedback. Our website, www.kbc.co.ke. Now, just having a sneak peek of what has been happening across the country in the last 24 hours is that the controversial revenue sharing formula is to be discussed tomorrow, or rather debated tomorrow. And at the same time, it's a race against time, especially for CSs to wrap up Uhuru Kenyatta's projects before grilling time in September. This and so much more coming up in the headlines and on our interactive segment as COVID-19 continues to rage with, a cure still at large. Question is, frontline workers, what is their take about the state of preparedness and how are they handling the situation in different counties, giving their own perspectives from doctors, nurses, and even ambulance or other emergency service providers. That is going to be on our interactive segment, so do keep it right here.
Well, and good morning to you. Many thanks for making time this Wednesday morning. Always a pleasure to have you joining us here on Good Morning Kenya. This morning on Matters Traffic, we look at what will be happening along Valley Road as well as Agwix Kodik Road, which is one of those roads that branches off from Valley Road, especially as you head over to the city center. There hasn't been quite a number of activities in these two specific roads. So this morning we just take a look at the traffic flow in this on these two specific roads and try to look at some alternative routes, especially for our viewers that come from those sides as you head over to your business or even any kind of activities in the city center. In addition to that, I will also be speaking to Peter Okoth, a fitness coach, to just help us understand what are some of the workouts, exercises that you can engage in, especially during this time when people have so much time in their hand, people that are at home due to COVID-19. So what kind of body exercises, what kind of workouts can you do, and how best can you keep consistent at it? Many thanks for making time this morning. My name is Doreen Arange.
In the headlines begins right about now with just a sneak peek of what has been captured on the front page of various issues of the newspapers. We start off with the Daily Nation. Ruto-Raila MPs push rival referendum bills. Now, this is a political split, competing interest. Origin, one bill is sponsored by the Constitution Implementation Oversight Committee that is chaired by Jeremiah Kioni, while the other is by the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee chaired by Mr. Muturi Kigano. Now, it's all about timing. Now, ODM dismisses a suspicious proposal to hold the plebiscite alongside the elections, but says it will support a different initiative seeking to have the vote 90 days after President Kenyatta has assented to the bill. Captured there, a sip of justice. Story that made headlines over the weekend after the arrest of Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja there. A sip of justice. Sakaja pleads guilty and is fined 15,000 for flouting curfew rules. At the same time, another win for Kenya. Mohammed, a frontline runner for WTO job. If she gets it, then it means it places Kenya on a different, platform in as far as negotiations. You know what the WTO is all about, and she might actually be able to swing some of that advantage to Kenya's direction. Now, a few options for Uhuru on COVID rules. We expect that the president has he's going to be using Friday's summit to get a wider view on what can be done to save lives amid an approaching storm before delivering his decision next week. That has been captured for you ably on the Daily Nation this morning. Focusing on the Star this morning, their header is a bit different. Race against time. Under pressure to beat Kenya's September grilling. Kenyatta's September grilling deadline. Now CS's rush to wrap up key Uhuru projects. The state officers to be rated based on their performance and completion of programs. Further on, captured there is quite a telling story there with a very interesting header. I was dying with COVID. No hospital wanted me. This is the story of Robert Karaoke. We will be looking at that in detail in not too long. But as far as the front page of the Star, The big read is also about plan to help Kenyans own homes, fights mistrust and funding woes. This comes at a time when, among the big four agenda that the government has set to be achieved by the close of 2022 is just at least construction of 500 units under affordable housing. Is that feasible? Still, Kenya has a very low percentage in the uptake of mortgages, and this is something that has affected a majority of Kenyans. That has been captured on the Star this morning. That's how the front pages of the Star and the Daily Nation look this morning. That is Wednesday, the 22nd of July, 2020.
Well, still looking at the front page of our papers this morning, on the front page of the Standard, Cabinet lockdown, that is the header we are having this morning. Just saying that stung by a surge in COVID-19 infections, and on the back of reports that at least 3 cabinet secretaries had contracted COVID-19. Now, the president bans nationwide tours to review containment measures on Friday. This story has been well fleshed out in page 3. We'll be seeing more of that when we unpack the paper. Still on the front page of the Standard, politics. Kalonzo dumps Raila for Uhuru, sparking MPs revolt in Wiper. That is what we have as the caption there. Just saying that Wiper Party yesterday resolved to quit NASA to sign a post-election coalition agreement with the ruling party, but the decision has been disowned by some top officials. That is what is happening in Wiper. On the sidebar of the paper, matters COVID-19, big promise in COVID-19 vaccine hunt. Scientists still continue to look at the proper vaccine for COVID-19, where scientists say that vaccine developed by the University of Oxford appears to be safe and triggers an immune response. Now, trials involving 1,077 people showed the injection led to their bodies making antibodies and T cells that can fight COVID-19. But remember, even as scientists continue to look at the right and proper vaccine for COVID-19, we are still continuing to insist that you follow the right guide, you follow all the guidelines that have been given by the Ministry of Health as well as the government to just ensure that you keep safe for you as an individual as well as for those that are around you. We also have another caption still on the front page. This is why drinking alcohol will soon be restricted only to homes, where the government has now drafted new rules to make it illegal to drink alcohol in a bar, restaurant, or outdoors like a public park. If enacted, outlets will only sell takeaways as authorities fight to stop the spread of COVID-19. That is what we have on the front page of the Standard this morning. But remember, as I had mentioned to you, we are still going to unpack more of what has been written inside the paper in a bit.
With that sneak peek as to how, or rather what has captured the front page of different issues of the newspaper on this day, the 22nd of July 2020, how about we give you more details in regard to those stories that have been highlighted. Now we start off with this, a sip of justice. Sakaja pleads guilty and fined 15,000 for flouting, curfew rules. Now just captured there, inset, is that, that story had made headlines over the weekend, and there was a lot of debate after Nairobi Senator there, Johnson Sakaja, was, arrested alongside 10 others who had flouted curfew rules and were found somewhere just having, enjoying a piece of your time. Now he said the former chairman of the Senate COVID-19 committee appeared in an outdoor court before Nairobi Chief Magistrate Roslyn Onyango and pleaded guilty. He had consequently also resigned as the chair of the COVID committee, ad hoc, the Senate COVID-19 committee, saying that he served as a bad example.
A story still on the Standard. Again, the same story was dominating the papers yesterday. This is the story of the Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja, and it just says that he pleads guilty, fined 15,000 for violating rule, where the Nairobi Senator Sakaja has opened a new chapter of his life after pleading guilty to violating curfew rules and forced to tame the spread of COVID-19 Following his admission yesterday, the senator will at times be required to fill a section that he has been fined or jailed for that offense. So Kasarani Stadium Special Court Chief Magistrate Roslyn Onganyo fined the senator 15,000 or in default spend 3 months in jail. That is what the Nairobi senator was fined, and this is for violating curfew rules. Remember that he also resigned from the committee that he chaired, the committee COVID-19. So that is what is happening there when it comes to matters COVID-19 and the Nairobi senator.
Now, the National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi has asked politicians to desist from undermining the laid-down rules and guidelines and put by government to curb further spread of COVID-19. Now, this comes at a time when Nairobi Senator there, Johnson Sakaja, resigned from the Senate ad hoc Senate Committee on COVID-19 and was released on a 15,000 shillings fine after he contravened that particular, curfew regulations. Here are the details. A story prepared by Ben Chumba.
As the government continues to preach strict adherence of the COVID-19 guidelines among Kenyans, concerns are being raised on leaders who seem to be behaving in a mockery of other Kenyans, toeing the line of the rules. National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi is apprehensive that large gatherings executed by political leaders not only violate social distancing rules, but risk spiking the spread of the deadly virus in the communities.
The only available defense mechanism is, as advised by the ministry, those simple things that the ministry has been saying we should do. And therefore, my plea even to political leaders, since that is my province, I deal with them, is please save yourself and save the others. Avoid large gatherings.
Muturi, while calling for discipline and collective responsibility by leaders, warned that a small degree of laxity could undermine the significant gains achieved by the country in seeking to flatten the elusive curve.
It is irresponsible for any leader of whatever shade, be a politician, religious, or business, to not appreciate the kind of situation that not just the country, the world is reeling in.
The lashing from Muturi came as Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja was forced to part with 15,000 shillings as fine for his freedom or risk 3 months imprisonment after pleading guilty of flouting COVID-19 rules. Chief Magistrate Roslyn Onganyo said the court in its ruling appreciated the fact that, being the first-time offender, the senator was remorseful and even resigned from the Senate COVID-19 team.
I've paid my fine, and I'll continue to urge Kenyans to follow the directives. I think the only thing I can say is, I think from yesterday, there have been a lot of messages and calls that have come in. In fact, now people have started sending me M-Pesa. I'm telling them, please don't send. It's a tough time, so and I've handled it already. But I think the show of goodwill and just the understanding that everyone has, that these things happen.
The senator was arrested alongside 3 other people on Friday night after they were caught drinking at a bar in Nairobi's Kilimani area after 1 a.m. Ben Chumba, reporting for Channel 1 News.
And legislation issues. Now, the BBI report is being secretly doctored, says Ruto allies. Now, they claim Uhuru Raila could have disagreed on some key proposals. Now, quoted there is that the DP's confidence spoke as anxiety continued to mount over the delay in handing over the BBI report 3 weeks after the task force confirmed it's completed its work. Now, the BBI team, formerly known as the Steering Committee on the Implementation of the Building Bridges to a United Kenya Task Force report, completed its work on June 30th. The BBI report continues taking center stage in as far as politics is concerned. Now, Senate set to debate cash formula tomorrow. Now, this offers a glimmer of hope as senators seek a deal on revenue sharing. It has been quite controversial, with proponents of the bill saying that indeed the counties that are set to benefit are those that are densely populated, while opponents of that also being divided between, between those who are members who are allied to Deputy President William Ruto and the likes. Now, Speaker Kenneth Lusaka has established a 4-member ad hoc committee to harmonize the two proposals and see whether it could lead to a breakthrough. Now, the committee is discussing and hopefully narrowing the gap between the two competing sides. Those who are opposed to this are saying are counties like, Marsabit, which happens to be sparsely populated, but one of, the key losers if this particular formula goes through. This comes at a time when also critics have come out and said that regional interests, politics of sharing national cake to hurt the spirit of devolution. Just to quote but a few of just what has been said by different people is that the contention is thus because of the various positions taken. We have done a very thorough and analytical work, interrogated all sorts of variables to ensure equitable outcome. But at the end of the day, it's a negotiated process. Now the parameters of the CRA has proposed, like health, are all based on population. Population on its own has been weighted at 18%, while it is true that people matter. It is also important to take note of other unique factors as ones faced by historically marginalized counties. These are some of the sentiments shared by different leaders there, and that is just a quote from Manyara Governor Ali Roba, who also chairs the Frontier Counties Development Council, that is FCDC. He says that regional interests have often trumped over meaningful considerations.
While keeping up with the revenue sharing formula and which sector is to get what percent, senators now failed to agree on revenue sharing formula, where talks to try and reach a compromise on a disrupted revenue sharing formula flopped yesterday, prompting postponement of a vote in the Senate. The last-ditch efforts to strike a deal on the contentious third-generation formula of revenue sharing among counties hit a song, prompting Speaker Lusaka to once again defer the crucial vote that seeks to avert a looming financial crisis in the counties. Now, what this did is that this development sent the president back to the drawing board. Now, this looming financial crisis in counties as talks to strike a compromise between population-based and size-based formula flop. So now, with this proposal, the Senate proposal will see 18 counties lose over 17 billion, and the rest will gain. And also, the implementation of proposed CRA formula will see 19 counties lose over 9 billion.
Now, as a report prepared by reporter Edward Kabasa, is that the Controller of Budget, Margaret Nyakango, has weighed in on the ongoing standoff between the Kirinyaga County Executive and the County Assembly over the 2020-2021 spending projects. Now, the Controller of Budget says the County Assembly erred in approving the 2020-2021 county budget estimates and appropriations bills. Here are the details.
There appears to be no let-up in the ongoing impasse between the Kirinyaga County Executive and members of the County Assembly. Governor Anne Waiguru on Tuesday got the support of the Controller of Budget, who faulted the ward representatives for violating the law in approving the 2020-2021 budget estimates.
So what we are saying, Chairman, is that the wrong order of things has taken place. Instead of the County Assembly receiving what is prepared by the CEC, they instead went ahead and prepared the budget themselves. So this we consider to be the wrong order of things.
In the estimates, the MC has drastically reduced proposed budgetary allocation to various departments in the county among them health, whose budget was reduced by a massive 300 million shillings.
You cannot cut healthcare salaries by 300 million and allocate to ward offices. We ground healthcare in Kirinyaga. We close all the hospitals so that we can have offices. We understand the political issues and everybody understands the needs to prepare for next year.
According to the Controller of Budget, Margaret Nyakango, the County Assembly contravened the Public Finance Management Act and the accompanying regulations when it altered the executive's budget by more than 1%.
I need to report that the governor had requested that they be allowed to spend under vote on account so that they could access 50% of their budget. However, with an injunction in place, Chairman, I wish to inform you that the matter gets a little complicated because the only way the county will get the vote on account is through a court order.
The ward representatives who are expected to appear before the Senate Committee on Devolution are also accused of allocating themselves a hefty development budget amounting to 631 million shillings, part of which will go towards the construction of their ward offices.
So I have no doubt in my mind we will find a solution. And I see the governor nowadays hanging out with people we used not to hang out a few years ago with. So she should not have a problem hanging out with the MCAs. It will happen, you know. Those political things just happen today. Tomorrow is different. And I don't think it will be difficult for us to find that solution.
The Kirinyaga County Executive took the legal battle over the contentious allocation to the High Court, where Justice Weldon Kurer issued a conservatory order suspending the implementation of the altered budget until the petition is heard and determined. He also directed that the Appropriation Bill 2020 should not be assented to before the application is heard.
And slightly away from matters politics and the Senate proceedings now, let's look at the plight of doctors as presented by the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union, that is KNPDU. The union now wants ministry to hire local doctors and not foreigners. That is the caption we are having there, where the decision by the government to bring in 20 specialists from Cuba has angered local doctors who want their jobless colleagues employed in the next 2 weeks. So that is the timeline they are giving. The medics have also criticized the push to equip hospitals with beds and equipment, saying without employing more doctors, such investments will be of little help. So through the KMPDU, the medics said there were more than 1,000 doctors who are unemployed and now ready to work. They include medical officers, pharmacists, and dentists. Now, they say, again, through their SecGen, that the Public Service Commission had advertised these vacancies, and these are the vacancies of medical officers, pharmacists, and dentists in early April, but now in July, nothing has been done. And so now they're just wondering what is the fate of the jobless doctors, given the fact that the government wants now to bring in 20 Cuban doctors. That is what is happening in the health in the health fraternity, and that is what the union now wants the government to do, to employ the jobless health workers and not just to bring in the 20 Cuban doctors, which they had suggested.
Oh, well, you're talking about, the medical fraternity, is that we have an opinion from one of the experts saying that fatigue is one of, the signs and symptoms of COVID-19. This comes at a time when there's a very gloomy header here on the Star after having that conversation in regard to, Papa Shirandula's death, a.k.a. Charles Bukeko, who was laid to rest not just less than 24 hours ago. And there goes, I was dying with COVID and no hospital wanted me. The story of Robert Karaoke. On Monday, I felt very cold and also developed a small cough. Took antibiotics, but the cough persisted. It was dry and irritating, and I felt like I was choking. The harrowing tale here of Robert Karaoke, just pointing to the gaps, the missing links in as far as, offering medical services on a local platform. At the same time, watch out for non-classic virus symptoms. This is what doctors are urging, is that some patients only report severe fatigue, blood clots may kill some people suddenly. Now, other patients with some respiratory distress experience blood clotting disorders and can lead to strokes and neurological problems such as confusion, headache, and loss of taste and smell. New developments in as far as COVID-19 is concerned. But now, keeping up with that particular controversial move there, is that now the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists, as well as Dentists Union claims that over 500 health workers have been exposed to COVID-19 and are in isolation, straining the workforce at the front line in combating the pandemic. More details of this particular report as prepared by our reporter Aidan.
In April this year, government pledged to hire over 1,000 doctors recommended by the National COVID-19 Committee to help in the implementation of the free medical services through the universal health coverage. The process to recruit the doctors was aimed at boosting the existing workforce in the face of the coronavirus pandemic. But the delay in hiring the health workers is now a matter of concern to the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union.
This is our plea to the government. Make sure you continually beef up the number of healthcare workers. We've sung this song, we've said it before. Employ more healthcare workers to take care of Kenyans, because you are having more of them being in isolation because you're already in the community stage of the disease.
The union is warning that Kenya was staring at a ticking time bomb, and that even if each county will be able to create 300 beds for COVID-19 patients, all will be meaningless without human resources required to manage the cases.
Wafanyikazi wa afya wanaotakikana watakuwa wakati tuna vitanda 300. Na ningependa kusema hivi, vitanda, testing kits na reagents havitatibu wagonjwa. Watakaotibu wagonjwa ni wafanyikazi wa afya.
According to the union, as of now, over 500 health workers are in isolation and the remaining workforce is struggling.
We acknowledge all the efforts done, but this is now a matter of priority. And we are hoping that in the next 2 weeks, these healthcare workers will be on the ground. Otherwise, you will have no healthcare workers to take care of you.
The union is also challenging the government to highly invest in human resources than infrastructure, as the country was now entering a critical phase in the war against the pandemic.
Well, the SecGen KMPDU, they are just saying that they are hoping that in the next 2 weeks, these health workers will be employed. Well, we hope that the government will hear their plight. So in as much as yes, they're planning to bring in the 20 Cuban doctors, at least a matter of priority to try and consider the ones here in the country. And away from that to now matters justice. This morning, police rescue girls forced into early marriage and arrest 2, where authorities in Kwale have now rescued 3 girls from forced marriages, that is in Kasemenyi village, which is bordering Kenya and Tanzania. 2 of the girls, aged 10 and 13, had been married off 2 weeks ago before officials raided their Manyara homesteads in the village. Lunga police boss, that is Peter Zimbi, said that he had led the multi-agency operations that successfully rescued these minors from the Manyatas, which led to the arrest of 2 men. So just not rescuing these girls, but they also managed to arrest these 2 men that had married these 2 young girls. Now, it also continues to say that the night raid was met with resistance, but police still managed to overpower the suspect. So that is a story of hope there. In as much as, yes, we are hearing so many stories of young girls being married off at a very young age. In fact, these are even pre-teens, just 10 and 13 had been married off. Again, one of the factors, this early marriages just in the wake of COVID-19. But in this specific area, at least police were able to rescue these 2 girls. And not just that, but also arrest these 2 men that had married these 2 young girls.
Now, still sticking to stories that are making headlines in the corridors of justice, is that accused in Rio scam cries in court. Now, that is none other than the team leader of the 2016 Rio Olympics, Arab Soy, who in his defense denied charges of being of abuse of office and theft of funds meant for the athletes. He added that he was not in the country when the money was used to buy tickets for undeserving persons. Still keeping up with stories making headlines in the courts is that a murder of a girl aged 9 and the boy's arrest shake village as a probe is launched. Now the arrest and detention of a 15-year-old suspect in the connection with the gruesome murder of a 9-year-old girl is raising questions on the moral fabric of the Kenyan society. The police believe the boy, currently in custody at Maragua Police Station in Murang'a County, killed Purity Njeri in Ithigaine village. The villagers are yet to come to terms with the possibility that the Standard 6 pupil strangled to death the third grader, stashed her body in a gunny bag and hurriedly buried it in a shallow grave. Quite difficult to actually believe that. Now, according to forensic investigators from the DCI headquarters in Nairobi, they have already been dispatched to the area, and the body was found at around 10 a.m., half buried in a pit measuring 2 by 3 feet in the boy's family land. Now, he was arrested. The said boy, the 15-year-old boy, was arrested and locked up in Maragua Police Station awaiting further investigation. Yesterday, an autopsy on the girl revealed that the guy died of manual strangulation as she had bruises on the neck. Now, in the best interest is that Article 53, Cap 2 stipulates that a child's best interests are of the paramount importance in every matter concerning him or her. Now, for a crime to be validly proven as murder, the killing must be proved beyond reasonable doubt to have been premeditated. Notably, in the juvenile justice, capacity is not an element of criminal liability but forms part of the culpability. However, age is fundamental. Also worth to note is that the penal code places criminal liability from the age of 8. However, this is often criticized because in most international laws, it is 12. This is a story that our reporters are keenly going to be focusing on in as far as stories making headlines in the corridors of justice. At the same time, as far as justice is concerned, is that CIA police are on the spot of a failure to arrest a man accused of rape. At the center of the saga is the suspect's relative, who is a civil servant and is said to have a hand in an alleged cover-up. Now, medical records from Sigomera Sub-County Hospital, where the girl was treated, show that she was indeed defiled, and the victim's aunt reportedly caught the teacher in the act and reported the matter at Sigomera Police Station. Details regarding stories making headlines in the corridors of justice, where also the High Court in Nairobi has suspended President Kenyatta's order for state institutions to stop all engagement with private firms and seek written approvals from the Attorney General's office. Here's a report by Ben Troy Joy.
A fortnight ago, President Uhuru Kenyatta, in a virtual meeting with senior-ranking members of the executive, instructed all government institutions to cease procurement of services from private law firms and to withdraw court cases against other state institutions. The Law Society of Kenya moved to court to contest the directive, arguing a ban on external legal services would render many lawyers jobless. In his ruling on Tuesday, Justice John Mativo noted the issues presented in the application established an arguable case which ought to be interrogated by the court. The LSK had sued Attorney General Paul Kihara as the government representative. Justice Mativo ordered the Attorney General to respond to the suit within 15 days. He also directed that orders be served to cabinet secretaries and accounting officers in government institutions. The case will be mentioned on October 6, 2020. For Channel 1 News, I'm Ben Troenju.
T01, where 13 were injured in a Likoni ferry stampede yesterday, and a majority of those who were hurt in the evening incident were women and children. Now, according to the Kenya Red Cross Society, officials stationed on the island side of the channel attended to the injured. Now, apparently, the trouble witnessed on the island side of the channel was a result of lack of enough ferries during the peak hours. This ferry that stalled is, the new ferry that is MV Safari, and the vessel had to be pulled by a tugboat to allow others to dock and help with the congestion. Remember the Mtongwe ferry saga in 1997 where so many perished? And also the most recent issue around that ferry, or rather the cross there at Likoni, is a story of the mother and her child who apparently, just the vehicle rolled off that particular ramp, and the bodies were recovered days later, and there was no one to offer rescue at the time when it was required. So this indeed did cause a bit of panic there for Mombasa residents, and we'll be keeping tabs in regard to what is happening on that particular development. At the same time, still keeping up with stories making headlines from Mombasa, is that Mombasa's Marigiti market has been reopened after 3 months of closure following the coronavirus outbreak. Mike has the details.
The over a century-old market, which was built in the year 1914, has been a source of livelihood for hundreds of traders who operated in the facility. The market, which is situated at Old Town, was closed down due to COVID-19 outbreak. The area was Mombasa's coronavirus epicenter a few months ago. Fast forward, and it's now a different narrative altogether. The newly refurbished market will open its doors for traders Tuesday, with some notable changes among the modern toilets, drainage, CCTV cameras, freezers and water that now gives the facility a better taste, and it turns it into a 24-hour economy. The traders lauding the latest development and promise to adhere to Ministry of Health regulations on COVID-19.
Tulipata shida sana kulingana na biashara yetu ni ya kutafuta leo na kesho, lakini tulikuwa na subra. Hatimaye leo tunafurahi sana kwa kufunguliwa soko hili.
Tena soko yetu zamani hakuna parking, tumepata parking. Hiyo mimi anaona tu faraha leo iko nayo. Tunaomba pia wateja tumepoteana kama kawaida arudi. Biashara ni vile vile tu.
Kati ya usafi tumeweka kama kawaida. Tuko na wafanyikazi ambao tumewaandika hapa. Wanafanya kazi kila wakati, wakifagia na wakiosha. Pia vile vile tumeweka milangoni sanitizer pamoja na maji. Pia vile vile tumeweka 2 mita kila mtu awe mbalimbali na mwenzake.
Mombasa Governor Hassan Ali Joho said his government was in talks with the National Treasury and other stakeholders to raise at least 10 billion shillings to support traders in Mombasa.
Tutafocus kuwapatia watu wetu uwezo wa kiuchumi ama kibiashara. Tutafocus hiyo. Na mimi nimesema katika bajeti ya Mombasa mwaka huu, niliambia waziri wa fedha kwamba I want a special fund created ambayo itastimulate uchumi wetu.
The traders will also be cautioned with 30,000 shillings each from the revolving fund to start afresh their businesses.
Will not pay the arrears, and you give them moratorium to be able to start paying after 3 months. I'm a grace period. Sivyo? Alafu nataka tuanze hapa. Let us model this market.
The Majengo and Sega markets in Mombasa vicinity have also been earmarked for renovations. After 3 months of tribulations due to the closure of this market after the outbreak of COVID-19, it's now a reprieve to the traders after the county government finally opened this market, which was under renovation during the pandemic period. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Michael Mondiga.
Well, I want us to move to the counties, but before we get to do that, let me just read this interesting story where new strict rules for matatu operators, that is the caption we are having, public service vehicles, the PSVs, will now require authorization from NTSA, Ministries of Health and Interior starting next week to be able to operate. According to NTSA website, the operators have to obtain a public service transport clearance from duly filled by the 3 departments before getting authorization to operate. So that is a new development there for matatu operators or the public service vehicles, that they have to get authorization from the 3 departments that I just mentioned above. That is the Health and Interior, as well as NTSA, starting from next week to be able to operate. Now, coming to the counties, 2 Kitui nurses get infected, where 2 nurses at Kitui County Referral Hospital have tested positive for COVID-19, and this was confirmed yesterday by the county Health Chief Officer, that is Richard Musoka, who disclosed that the 2 had given their samples last week. And in addition to that, also another person aged 62 whose samples had also been collected at the hospital tested positive for COVID-19. This is just more of a wake-up call for those Kenyans that were still feeling and believing that COVID-19 is not here. Well, we can see even medical practitioners, health officials getting infected and testing positive for COVID-19. And still keeping up with the counties in Nyandarua County, the county is now set to set up industrial park on vast cemetery land, where the county government has said the land set aside for the establishment of cemetery will be turned into an industrial park and not a cemetery park. This was mentioned by Governor Francis Kimemia, where he said that this 16-acre land in Magumu off the Nairobi-Nakuru highway will not be for cemetery, but will be for set for industrial park. And now just to the last county, which is Nakuru County, where Medic held in teen abortion probe, and this is a medical officer, and police in Kuresoi North are now holding a medical practitioner who they accuse of helping a 15-year-old girl procure an abortion at his private clinic in Nakuru. The Nakuru police boss, that is Tito Kilonzi, said the 75-year-old clinical officer is being held at Sirikwa police station after he allegedly induced the 4-month student with drugs to terminate the pregnancy. That is what is happening in Nakuru County, as well as various parts of the country in different counties.
Now, still keeping up with stories that are making headlines in the counties, we have a detailed report as prepared by our reporter Ahmed Khaled.
The Ministry of Devolution and Asol Areas has partnered with the Laikipia Nature Conservancy to formulate a controlled access of pastures at isolated portions of land by the herders, where the animals will be fattened ready for sale. Devolution Chief Administrative Secretary Abdul Bahari said the government is committed towards improving the livelihood of herders, urging them to make sure that they are benefiting from their animals through sale instead of waiting for the drought season.
Na hata isiponyesha watakuwa wanafaidika na hiyo maji. Kuna sehemu ambao wananchi wenyewe wanaweza chota maji, mifugo wanakunywa maji upande ule mwingine, na hiyo tayari imebadilisha matumaini yao, imebadilisha maisha yao forever and ever.
Meanwhile, Meru health workers have complained over the quality of the personal protective equipment being distributed by the Ministry of Health through the county governments. Led by Kenya Union of Nurses Secretary General Nesbit Mugendi, the health workers have questioned the quality of the PPEs.
So you are saying we have PPEs, but we want these PPEs to be topped out so that even we doesn't experience sporadic stockouts of PPEs. We want a continuous supply of PPEs for us in order to be able to offer services correctly.
Elsewhere, Equity Bank, in conjunction with the national government, has embarked on a program to supply PPEs manufactured locally to counties to fight COVID-19.
Here we have gumboots, we have gloves, we have the masks, we have the hair gear, the shoe gears, everything that should be donned to a particular frontline worker to make him or her at least safe when handling the patients.
Elsewhere, leaders in Nyandarua County have called on the local county government to work closely with youth hired under the Kazi Mtaani initiative to supplement their work in the region.
I would want to request Waziri and the office of the governor to actually transform Olkarao town to a higher level, and we can do it.
Na najua after these 6 months, wengi wetu hapa, wale ambao hawana skills kidogo, it will be so easy to get into TVETs.
Finally, residents of Kisumu have staged a peaceful demonstration to protest the killing of 3 people by an alleged drunk driver.
They can protect themselves.
The locals claim the 3 who were on a motorbike were hit by a speeding car along the Kondele Kibos Road on Saturday night. They claim police have been reluctant to apprehend the alleged driver, who seems to enjoy protection.
The person arraigned before court who was the driver are yet to be investigated. And we pledge that anybody with that information should visit the police station so that claims can be ascertained.
And away from the counties, let's look at some of the stories dominating our papers when it comes to matters business this morning. Bill 6 to give local firms the edge in state contracts. It is the caption we are having. A proposed legal amendment that is currently in the National Assembly could give local contractors more muscles against international bidders in the battle for government projects, or if you made the tenders. So the national and county governments will also be required to pay contractors within 3 months of supply should the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Bill 2020 be passed. Also, this bill proposes that successful bidders for government jobs be paid through bank guarantee, thus reducing the long waiting period that has left most of the firms without critical cash for day-to-day operations. So at least a bit of a reprieve for local contractors to be able to get more contracts, more government contracts as opposed to their international counterparts. But still keeping up with matters business, Kenya Power gets new directors, the KPLC, and now Kenya Power has appointed 5 new directors to its board, replacing the team that quit last week, where there was a team that quit last week, and now they have a set of new team. And among the new board members are industrialist Goodka, who recently served as the chairman of Kenya Association of Manufacturer. And also, in addition to that, is that the board of KPLC announced the appointment of Abdurazak Ali, Elizabeth Rogo, Caroline Kitoni, Wayaki, and Vien Yeda. These are just the non-executive directors of the company, the new directors of KPLC.
Now, still keeping up with matters making headlines in as far as business is concerned, but now focusing on Kiambu County, is that bars in Kiambu have been given until the end of the week to close shop before they are forcefully shut for flouting COVID-19 rules. Details in a report prepared by Betty Kiptum.
Kiambu County has the 3rd highest COVID-19 caseload at 856 cases after recording 33 new cases on Tuesday. This has jolted the Kiambu County government to rein in on exposure spots, including markets, bars, hotels, and retail outlets. County Governor James Nyoro says bars are operating illegally, with some eateries selling alcohol to customers.
Hata bars zinafunga mlango, wanakunywa huko ndani. Wengine wanaoperate bar and restaurant. Kwa hivyo wanauza chakula upande moja, upande mwingine wanauza pombe.
That the sale of bars remain closed and the sale of alcohol is limited to takeaway only.
Nyoro warned that those found selling alcoholic drinks will have their premises closed and licenses revoked.
Wiki ijao tutakujia. Tukikujia tutafunga kwa lazima na tutakansel license yako na hutapata license yoyote katika Kiambu.
Some residents have welcomed the move, saying it will help contain the spread of COVID-19 in the area.
Kwanza kabisa tuupokee ule mwelekeo ambao umetolewa na gavana jimbo hili la Kiambu County, ambao unaangazia kufunga vile vyumba ambavyo vinaangazia haswa na kuuza vileo.
It is a very important step in the right direction on this fight against COVID-19, because our entertainment place has become the biggest source of the contraction of this virus.
Open air markets and retail outlets will also be closed down next week for fumigation. Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
And away from matters business, let's delve deeper into sports. Now, this is just an interesting header. Risk of running in shoes not suited for your feet, where whatever your level of ability, it's important to find suitable shoes to run in, especially if you plan on spending more time in your running shoes. Now, research has shown that runners are at a higher risk of injury if they aren't wearing the right shoe for their foot type. A comfortable running shoe is a shoe that fits, but finding one is not always easy oftentimes. But the first step is getting to know your personal running style in order to find a pair of shoes that fit you perfectly. Well, this article just giving us, telling us more of how bad and detrimental it is for runners who run in the wrong type or the wrong set of shoes. But also this is in line with the kind of conversation we are going to be having in the last hour. And this is in regards to working out, exercising and keeping fit. So just from this research that you're drawing is that it is important to wear the right set of shoes. But also we'll be speaking to a fitness expert to help us understand which is the best kind of shoes for someone who's just running for fun, someone who's just running for exercising, as well as those for athletes.
Now, still keeping up with stories and making headlines in the sporting arena is that the Kenya Open will be closed to the public. This is in line to the health ministry protocols to prevent the spread of coronavirus. Further, new reprieve or rather hope for sports infrastructure as work resumes at the Moi Stadium Voi after a graft probe that halted the project for 5 years. You can get more details in regard to that. And Gor Mahia polls to go on as planned. That is according to the electoral body, where at the same time the section of the club's funds have called for a cancellation of the August 8th exercise until pertinent issues are addressed. Quoted there, Kennedy Mbara, Gor Mahia Electoral Board Secretary General, says the demand letter and any intended legal suit should have been directed to the former officials and not the board. The club's constitution was adopted before the board came into existence, and we shall respond only to issues concerning our mandate. At the same time, is that I am in AFC to stay. That is Odhiambo, who makes a U-turn. Now, barely a day after AFC Leopards midfielder Austin Odhiambo revealed that he was in advanced talks with rivals Gor Mahia over a possible switch to the club, he has made a U-turn and said that he is happy at Ingwe. You want to know what led to his change of mind? Well, you can get all this details and more on our website. But now let's talk about the infamous Safari Rally, where the Kenya National Rally Championship KNRC Premier Class driver Eric Benji believes that the much-awaited comeback of the fabled Safari Rally to the FIA World Rally Championship calendar is a perfect opportunity to reignite local talent.
Bengi will be one of the many drivers from the current crop of Kenya National Rally Championship speed specters to debut the iconic World Rally Championship Safari, which will be held next year. From the current group of KNRC drivers, only reigning Kenya and Safari champion Baldev Chaga, Ian Duncan and Carl Flash Tundo have graced the World Rally Championship Safari event. Legendary Duncan was the last Kenyan driver to lay his hands on a WRC Safari title when he won the 42nd Trust Bank Safari Rally in 1994.
This year we had intended to, as much as possible, keep our pace high, see whether we can maintain a top 5 position. It's another level of learning to compete at that level. First and foremost, let me say Safari is such a good thing to happen. Kenya in Africa has been ranked to be one country with amongst the best drivers in the continent.
Duncan, Mike Killand, Vic Preston Sr. and Jr., Shaka Menta, Jodiga Sain and Patrick Njiro were among the locals who featured prominently back in the Safari days. Having run a WRC round 18 years ago, Kenya made the step up to top flight action this year, but the event was pushed to next year due to the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. The World Safari Rally will be based in Nairobi, with the service park and stages located near lakes Naivasha and Elementaita, northwest of the city in the Great Rift Valley. Frederick Moki for Channel 1 Sports.
That detailed report there by reporter Moki brings to the cup of in the headlines this morning, which is July 22nd, 2020. And just to further details, you remember you can find them available on our website. That's www.kbc.co.ke. We take a short break, but in return, we're going to be focusing among issues, just bring into the fold frontline workers, so that they can give us their views and perspectives as to, the state of our preparedness in light of COVID-19 and what especially has been done within the counties to ensure that in the event that there is indeed a storm, as we are, preparing for, given the current trajectory that we've seen in terms of infections, that the county or rather devolved units are ready to tackle that particular pandemic. Some of the developing stories that we're going to be focusing on, we're going to be looking at, that near mishap at Mombasa on the ferry, the crossing of the ferry there. We have where 13 people were injured yesterday. And also we're going to be focusing on, the debates that are going to be taking place both at the National Assembly and the Senate too. In preparation tomorrow, we expect that the debate of the new revenue, the revenue sharing formula is going to be taking center stage at the Senate on Friday, or rather, yes, on Thursday. While at the same time, Kenyans are really expecting, the outcome of a meeting that President Uhuru Kenyatta has called for, especially, for the governors in light of increased cases of COVID-19. That and so much more is what we're going to be keeping you posted on as the day continues in as far as news is concerned. So do keep it right here. We take a short break. When we return, we focus on frontline workers and their take on Kenya's state of preparedness in regard to COVID-19.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Mimi si mtoto. You know very well that was my idea and you ended up taking it. You have a lot of explaining to do.
Madam Julia.
Can you guys believe that he was hooking me up with his father?
He is not my father.
Aye?
Can we move on to a more valuable topic?
This Joan?
Oh, Joan, she's...
Can you not talk to me, please? Thank you. I'd hold my tongue if I were you.
What I'm trying to say is that you can give me that feather. I can do wonders.
On the next episode of...
Shetani mkubwa utanitambua mimi.
Shetani, amefanya nini?
Nilikuwa naimba, sio nijua.
Nilikuwa na simu yangu, sijui kama umeiona.
Sijaiona. Masudi ana nini?
Masudi anafanya nini?
Basi atamwambia mume wangu, wewe na huyo Masudi huyo, siku hii itafika. Wasikia? Tena kama hujapakuliwa kule nje, usije kunisumbua mimi hapa, Wasikia? Nenda ukajipange. Si unajua jikoni maliliko? Niache mwenyewe kwa starehe zangu, ndio mwenyewe nikajistiri. Sawa?
Tujali kazi zenu
Ayuni, mimi naona nishukue hiyo kazi ya job.
Kama kufumania wewe na Kisaka. Sitaki kuamini kabisa.
Bwana Chris. Job.
Chris anakuwa man solo.
Kwa nyumba yote, si tunaweza mconnect.
Nani amekushow Chris anadai wife?
Niko sure hata wewe unajua hii ni hustle tunaweza kulia. Mbona mlitenda job? nakuongelesha. Chukua namba.
Wewe nawe. Wewe ni mdemo wangu.
Babe, relax.
Wewe jichuje bro.
Well, 2 minutes to the top of the hour, time for our fast traffic link-up segment this morning. But just before we go to traffic, I'm seeing a lot of feedback on Twitter. Kenyans just saying that Waiyaki Way is busy traffic on that specific road, moving at a pretty slow pace. Also on Ngong Road, the same. But before we get to see what is happening on these roads in terms of traffic, let's look at what I had said is going to be our focus this morning, which is actually Valley Road and Agwix Kodek Road. These are the two roads you're going to be focusing on in terms of traffic. So let's just begin with Valley Road in terms of traffic this morning. Doesn't really look so bad, especially as you leave Hurlingham, just from that roundabout. I'm using Valley Road heading all the way to the city center. Not so bad in this early morning hour. Clear ways actually through the entire Valley Road, and this is on both lanes. That is the lane that is leaving Hurlingham, leaving all the estates enjoined along Valley Road as you head over to the city center, moving at a pretty fast pace, just on some specific areas where traffic beginning to slightly build up, and this is just slightly past the Hurlingham roundabout. That's that roundabout there as you head over to the city center. But also, just before you get to Valley Road, this road comes all the way from Agwix Kodek Road, which actually comes again from Hurlingham, from Kawangware and all these estates that apply this specific route as you head over to the city center. Also on this specific road, moving at a pretty fast pace, there's barely any traffic this morning. Again, that just shows you that if you're coming from these estates that are enjoined to these two specific roads, then this is clearly the best time for you to do that, because there's barely any traffic gridlock there, and just on some specific areas where traffic begins to slightly build up. And actually on these specific areas is just around that roundabout, but it's not one of those major roundabouts. So again, that could also probably be the reason as to why we're not experiencing that heavy traffic build up like how we'd expect to see on other major roundabouts. So around this roundabout, traffic just beginning to slightly build up there, but it's also manageable. So in as much as, yes, this is not a major roundabout like how we see on other major roundabouts, like probably the ones on Outer Ring, Thika Road, or even Mombasa Road, where the traffic police are normally stationed because they are major roads, major roundabouts. Also on this specific one, in as much as it's not quite, those major roundabouts, but also the traffic police are normally stationed around around the Hurlingham area, just as you head over to Valley Road, coming all the way from Agwix Kodek Road. The traffic police are also normally stationed around this specific one to just try and see how best they can control traffic. But again, also looking at our map, this has just changed right now. Around this area, as you leave the roundabout, just slightly past the roundabout, keeping up with Agwix Kodek Road before you head over to Valley Road, traffic had begun building up as you leave this specific area, and this was on both lanes as you head over to the city center, as well as also leaving the CBD. But that has changed again, because as of now it is green all through, indicating that there's no traffic at all, moving at a pretty fast pace, only on some specific areas where traffic is just building up around that area. But on major parts of this road, moving at a clearly fast pace. So that is what is happening along Agwix Kodek Road, as well as Valley Road, just as what we've looked at in this early morning hour. Let's look at another area. This is Mbagathi Way, just as you branch off from the busy roundabout. And this is really different, because unlike what we were seeing around the Hurlingham roundabout, just as you're heading over to Valley Road, as well as leaving that road that I just mentioned to you, which is Agwix Kodek, leaving all those areas of Hurlingham as you head over to the city center, there was barely any traffic around that roundabout, just on some specific areas where traffic was beginning to build up. And in as much as it was building up, at least just slightly building up, so clear indicator that at least it's a manageable kind of traffic around this major roundabout, which is is the city mortuary roundabout, connecting to a number of roads and major roads, if I may say. There's Ngong Road, coming all the way from Ngong Road, as well as heading all the way to Ngong Road as well, branching off to Mbagathi Way, as well as Valley Road, which is what we've just looked at. But before I go to those other roads that branches off from this major roundabout, the city mortuary roundabout, let's look at Valley Road again a bit. It looks like traffic just beginning to build up there. It's unlike what you were seeing in the first couple of minutes when you're beginning to look at what was happening on our major roads in terms of traffic. So as of now, traffic just beginning to slightly build up there. And the interesting bit is that this is on both lanes. So that means the lane that is leaving the roundabout, the city mortuary roundabout, as you head over to Valley Road all the way to the city center, as well as the one leaving CBD, coming all the way through V Road as you head over to the roundabout. But again, also Valley Road is not one of those roads, roads that has numerous or many activities, especially in this early morning hour, except just vehicles moving in and out of the city. So it's unlike what you normally see on other major roads, where we normally see the business centers, large companies, small scale business traders also just along this route. So it's highly and it's unlikely when it comes to V Road, and that is probably why we don't see that heavy traffic build-up, especially in this early morning hour. So what this means is that if you're coming from Ngong Road, if you're also coming from all the way from Kenyatta, Mbagathi Way, as well as on the other side of Ngong Road, using V Road as you head over to the city center, then clearly this is the best time for you to do that, because in as much as there's a bit of a traffic there, at least it is manageable. And again, that's just for the benefit of our viewers, for those who may not understand why we are seeing so many colors and difference in colors, or a cocktail of colors. This is what this orange color indicates. So if you hear me say that it's at least manageable, this is what it means when you see the orange color, just showing us that traffic has begun to just slightly build up. But then again, it is also moving, not at a standstill, or moving at a pretty slow pace. That is what is happening along Valley Road, which is just what you are trying to focus on this morning. But again, before I head over to that roundabout, looking at the roundabout which you are trying to focus on this early morning, that is the Hurlingham roundabout. Traffic really beginning to build up there, and that is why I kept mentioning, if you're coming from V Road, from Agwick, Skodek Road, from Hurlingham, this is clearly the best time for you to do that, because in as much as there's traffic there, but at least it's moving at a pretty fast pace. And also, it's important for me to mention that it's only on some specific areas where traffic is beginning to build up along that specific area. But let's look at another road. Again, this is along Mbagathi Way, also one of those busy road, which also serves as a good alternative route for those that come from Langata Road or Plai Langata Road. But in this early morning hour, clearly traffic's not up there and moving at a pretty slow pace, and this is what we are seeing when it comes to this red color that you're spotting. They are moving at a pretty slow pace, and actually this is on this lane that is leaving Langata Road or Mbagathi Way, estates such as High Rise. As you come to the city center, that is just where traffic is really building up there, moving at a pretty slow pace. So in as much as, yes, it is one of those good alternative routes, so for those that are coming from Langata, from Rungai, wanting to use this as an alternative route, then you may just have to make do with that traffic there, because if you're coming from Langata, from Rongai, then this is one of those good alternative routes, because again, also it's not one of those busy roads in terms of activities, except just traffic. Because also when you look at the kind of businesses along this route in terms of either large scale or companies, industries, they're not really quite many compared to what we see normally on other major roads. So clearly, again, if you're coming from those areas that I just mentioned, you may just have to also use this as an alternative route, because I can tell you for sure, if you're sticking up with Langata Road, then clearly you may just have to make do the traffic around Nyayo Stadium roundabout, and also going all the way to Uhuru Highway, which sometimes becomes very unbearable, especially in this early morning hour. So Mbagathi Way not looking really bad, just on specific areas past actually High Rise, where traffic begins to slightly build up. But then again, this has changed. I keep telling you, every time that traffic changes, every single minute, look at how it's looking like now at a standstill, not moving at all. And this is that is why we're having this color. And also when you look at this road, there's just, cocktail of colors. We have the orange, maroon, and red. So just showing us that in some areas is, moving at a pretty fast pace all the way from just the roundabout. This is just next to the Timol roundabout. As you enjoy into Mbagathi, we're moving at a pretty fast pace, but slightly after that area, traffic beginning to slightly build up there. Then on some parts, just at a standstill. Also next to, as you head over next to the city mortuary roundabout, on that specific area, moving at a really, really slow pace. Traffic, yes, but moving at a pretty slow pace, and that is why we're having the red color there. But just before you get to the roundabout, again, traffic beginning to slightly build up, but quite manageable, and that is why we have the orange color there. But just as I mentioned to you, also along Mbagathi, where there's not really quite a number of activities like how we'd see on other major roads, and also in terms of estates, not quite a number of them. So clearly also the reason as to why there's normally not that heavy traffic build-up along this route, and also this is the reason as to why it's normally used as a very, very good alternative route for those that fly or those that use Langata Road. On the other lane, though, this is the one that is leaving the roundabout. On this specific one, moving at a really, really fast pace. In fact, on this other one, there's no traffic at all. But remember, again, along Gong Road or around the city mortuary roundabout, just as you head over to Gong Road, branching off to this other roads, this is again one of those areas where there had been a lot of activities in terms of road reconstructions, in terms of ensuring that proper drainage systems are put, and also in terms of ensuring that there's good non-motorized transport system. In fact, this was one of those roads that Kenyans were really saying that for different counties, they need to benchmark with Ngong Road, and also different roads that are just trying to be reconstructed. They need to benchmark with this specific one, because in terms of NMT especially, they had really ensured that that was in place. And what we are seeing along Ngong Road, especially in terms of reconstruction, they are now actually at the third phase of this road reconstruction to make it a dual carriage road. And this is first of all to ease on the traffic flow along Ngong Road, given the fact that it's one of those busy roads. Unlike the roads that you're trying to look at this early morning, Ngong Road is one of those busy roads, and also in terms of traffic, sometimes really becomes quite unbearable. But that's that in terms of traffic this morning. And that is how this road is looking like. Ray, when you look at the reconstruction that has been happening along Ngong Road, I want to believe that at least you've seen that coming along. How would you rate it? What do you think about it?
I think it's going to transform Ngong Road as it is, because now traffic is flowing, and I want to see how the works will look once it's completed, because it's yet to be complete. But there's no traffic. The traffic that you expect around 5-6 p.m. in the evening on Ngong Road, it actually is moving faster than what we see on Magadi Road. I don't know when they will be thinking about expanding Magadi Road itself, but yes, that is a good move in as far as Ngong Road is concerned, Doreen.
Well, speaking of expanding Magadi Road, I think that is one thing that the Kenyan Urban Roads Authority needs to look at, because it's one of those tiny roads, and in terms of activities coming all the way from Rungai, heading over to the city center. So even as they're looking at expanding Ngong Road, making it a dual carriage road, given that they are in the third phase of this reconstruction process, all the way from Dagoretti heading over to Karen. So I believe that this is again one of those roads that they need to be looking into in terms of reconstruction, at least to just make it easy for those that are coming from these specific areas, and also to reduce on the traffic flow. But also, Ray, as you talk about Ngong Road and also the expansion process, one of the downsides that comes with this expansion is that the traders that are normally found on these pavements, what do you think the government probably needs to do, or even the county government, at least to ensure that these areas just strictly stick for pedestrians and cyclists?
You see, that's just the Kenyan way, if you ask me. Kenyans, sometimes some of us are ignorant of the laid down guidelines, because as you've seen, there's been a lot of talk as the walkways. We're seeing people, bodas, and even taxis using the walkways even within the CBD, and yet these are designated walkways. So just tend to think that government needs, and relevant authorities need to just make an example of anyone who just contravenes, the laid down guidelines, and as far as, road usage is concerned. And if you take an example of Ngong Road, we have artisans who have displayed, awesome furniture on the side of the road. Yes, that's good. Those are SMEs, and yet we're here promoting entrepreneurship. That is fine. But if this is a road reserve, it should be left as such. You see, if you look at let me give you a case in point of South Africa, if you look at its road infrastructure, it's amazing, such that in a place like Durban, which is considered, a holiday place of sorts, or even Dublin, you'll find that there's huge space between, construction, the buildings, the hotels that are built along the beach. There's a road, there's a pool, there's so much. We leave space for road construction, and even expansion into the future. But you look at major roads in Kenya here, we find that people have put kiosks, or what we call verandas and everything else, right in the middle of the road or next to the road, to a point that during peak hours, you find pedestrians and motorists are clamoring for the use of the road. Yet, we very well know that these developments are put up there illegally, and they shouldn't be there. So I tend to think that the government and the relevant authorities should crack the whip, so that at least, we avoid avoidable accidents. Look at how many people are knocked on our roads every day, and it's human error. And because some of it even just falls on ignorance. So I tend to think that the relevant authorities need to just, crack the whip. Anyone who is encroaching on a road reserve should be put in their place. That's my take.
Wow. And that's really beautiful, because also as you talk about those clamoring on these roads, we have also seen, especially the private vehicle owners, on this non-motorized transport system. And there was a time, even a couple of weeks ago, where we are seeing images along Thika Super Highway, even along Outer Ring Road, where we are having vehicles, and not even just the private owners, you're having the PSVs, the matatu, encroaching on this pedestrian pathway, sometimes just making it difficult for pedestrians to know which lane to use. And you see, this is the reason as to why we have this designated lanes, because they have been well specifically slated that there's one for vehicles, and this is for both inclusive public and private vehicles. There's one for pedestrians, and there's one for cyclists. So what also this means is that pedestrians and cyclists do not need to use the same lane as they go about their business. They are just well designated. But we've been seeing public vehicles and even private vehicles encroaching on the pedestrian walkway. So even as you talk about cracking the whip and ensuring that the right regulations are put in place, what about these private vehicles? What about this public vehicle? The PSVs? Isn't it just supposed to be basic knowledge that this is a lane for pedestrians? So why am I parking my vehicle here?
What can I say? Common sense is not so common. If you look at especially what happens, with PSVs and even just, private car owners or other motorists. I mean, common sense is not so common on our roads. Look at what happens on Jogoo Road. Everyone knows that those matatus there are reckless. Look at what we know about, users, Route 125, 126, the matatus that we have there are quite rogue. So for me, it's just an issue that common sense is not so common, and that's why we're having, an increased number of road fatalities, whereas, we blame human error. It's not the road that has a problem. It's actually the users, you and I. So I tend to think it's individual responsibilities it's an individual responsibility to adhere to the road safety rules.
Individual responsibility to adhere to the road safety rules. Let's look at some tweets, from Kenyans, just in terms of what is happening actually on our major roads. There's this one saying that who is to blame for the 5-year bridge being done? Is it the contractor or the engineers? Remember that you've been seeing projects stalling. Yesterday we looked at what was happening along Thika Super Highway, the stalling of the 3 bridges that were supposed to be installed on that specific road. That is one that is supposed to be at Garden City, Survey, and Mangu. That project has actually been stalling. Ray, just before I get to look at what is happening on our major roads in terms of traffic, specifically those roads that we were focusing on this early morning, what would you allude this stalling of projects to? Because that is one, just Kenyan saying there that, the bridge along Wayakiwe. Yesterday we're looking at the ones that has stalled along Thika Super Highway. This is the one in Survey, Garden City, and Mangu. What is your take in all of this?
Stall projects are, especially in as far as road construction works is concerned, has been something that we've seen, even dating way back. We know the Nyoro contractors in the 80s and 70s who just dig up the road and leave their tractors there and caterpillars there. Stalling projects is going to cost us. There are many underlying issues as to why this project stall. Either it's the issue of funding or issues of compensation, especially with this land is privately owned. The owners have gone to court for stalling the project to continue. Such issues, land acquisition and compensation is one of them, as well as just non-payment. We've had even the central bank coming out and saying that especially government needs to pay contractors and contractors, and not just contractors just in the road network. It's because pending bills also affect those people who are supposed to deliver on those projects. So there's so many other underlying issues that could have actually led to the stalling of some of these projects, but the main issue is the issue of land acquisition and compensation, as well as cash flow issues.
Wow, and even as you talk about land acquisition and cash flow issues and lack of proper payment, remember that this morning also on the Standard we had a story where we were just being told that at least now the government is going to look into local contractors, look at how best they can be able to fund these local contractors, and also the kind of contracts that they give them. But also there was another story that Ray, there was another issue that you also mentioned earlier, Ray, and this is when we're talking about the business traders, especially the small scale business traders who encroach into the road, some even just selling in the middle of the road, and some using the pedestrian pathways and cyclist lanes to just sell their products. And there's just a tweet again here saying that those hawkers in the middle of the road during traffic, well, they need this traffic jam to sell. Again, there's also another issue. Yes, we talked about small-scale traders either encroaching on cyclist paths or pedestrian walkways. But then again, there's also this small-scale traders, or if you may, the hawkers, who sell actually when there's traffic jam. And sometimes Kenyans will say that they are the reason as to why there's normally heavy traffic jam, because, well, they're trying to move, in between the vehicles, sometimes using those lanes and parts there. So, Ray, when it comes to these small-scale traders who actually sell when there's heavy traffic flow, do you feel like we need to have a designated specific area for small-scale traders, or is it just okay for them to sell when there's traffic jam? Because then again, one would argue they're also just trying to make a living.
Now that's an issue of hawking, and I think it's not just synonymous with Kenya or traffic times during off-peak, or rather during peak hours in Kenya. I think these are just men and women who are trying to eke a living. And in as much as look at the county rules that we've been having and regulations, designated areas, to just have traders and vendors hawking or rather selling their wares. I don't think we have the requisite capacity to ensure that these people are not on our roads. I am not so confident that we have the capacity to keep manning our roads during peak hours, Doreen. So that would be too big to swallow at this point. We do not have established areas per se that are enough for these traders to do their business. Remember, there was a proposal, I think 2 or 3 years back, to have a Friday called on off to allow for traders to come in. The CBD just locked up to have traders come in and do their business, but it was received with a lot of criticism and skepticism, and it was shelved. So we have to contend with what we have right now and survive. But half of it is that even these traders who hawk their wares during traffic are not necessarily, not 100%, not many of them are actually genuine. These are the people who end up snatching people's electronics in traffic, the cell phones, the laptops, and such. So it's just a man-eat-man society, especially within the CBD. That's my take.
Well, and speaking of genuinity, I know these traders or hawkers, if you may, who end up selling stuff for us, especially when there's traffic, some saying that actually they are the ones who even end up stealing from you, either whether you are in a public service vehicle or even in your own private car. But again, also, there's another issue of the street kids, especially on our roads. And a tweet here just saying that lots of street kids around Westlands stealing side mirrors, lights when you park your car, and just giving other areas where these street kids are quite many, and they end up stealing from people, either when you park your car or even when you're just, you know, in the matatu going about your business, you have your phone there, they end up snatching from you. Is it a question of finding a safe and a better place for placing these street kids, or is it a question that they're just trying to look for a way to survive? What could be the argument from your perspective?
It's an issue of survival, but you see, it borders on unethical behavior. There was a time that, Nairobi County had started just picking off, these children. You remember when, the Pope was visiting the country, yeah? Mm-hmm. Do you remember the cleanup of, the streets, including even the street urchins were taken off to rehab centers? Yeah. Now we have relapsed and we have gone back to our past behaviors. We're finding them everywhere, and also the increased number of beggars that we have on our road. We can point at so many other things in regard to this issue, but I think it's just that everyone is trying to eke a living, but some of them are unscrupulous and they end up causing a lot of damage. So I don't think this is something that is gonna go away anytime soon. Looking at our current state, especially now with reduced income flows, everyone is trying to make something out of this situation, though some of them are leveraging or rather moving towards criminality.
Well, just a great sentiments echoed in there. But looking again at some more tweets, Mombasa Road jam bumper to bumper going all the way to Nyayo Stadium roundabout. Too much traffic on Mombasa Road from Gateway Mall to Cabanas as you head over to the city center. Also at Kitengela, traffic just moving slightly well, but again, traffic jam there. And that is why I was saying to you earlier on, especially if you're coming from Langata Road, given the fact that our focus this morning was along Valley Road as well as Agwek Skodek Road, then Bagathiwe could really be the best route for you to use this early morning hour, because if Mombasa Road is looking like this, then you can just imagine as you leave the Nyayo Stadium roundabout using Uhuru Highway coming to the city center, how the situation could look like. But before we wrap traffic this morning, let's just again try to briefly look at those two roads which we are focusing on this morning, and that is Valley Road and Agwek Skodek Road. Let's see if the situation has changed or it's just the same as how it was in the first early 20 minutes when you're beginning to look at how this road was looking like and doing in terms of traffic. Actually, nothing has really changed. Traffic just, quite manageable, and, at about 23 minutes past the top of the hour, and looking just almost the same as how it was at 8 a.m. when you're looking at how this road was doing in terms of traffic throughout the entire roundabout, moving at a pretty fast pace, barely any heavy traffic gridlock. But again, it's really unlike how we'd expect to see roundabouts to look like in terms of traffic, because you can remember how the city mortuary roundabout was looking like early morning, and again we'll also be trying to see how that roundabout is doing in terms of traffic. But when you just come to the Valley Road roundabout, this is as you head over to V Road, coming all the way from Agwek Skodek. This is actually areas such as Hurlingham, Nairobi Hospital, all the way heading to the city center, moving at a pretty fast pace. In fact, just on some specific areas where traffic is building up, but again, also it's manageable. But also remember, I had mentioned to you that around this roundabout, in as much as it's not a major roundabout, also the traffic police are normally stationed very, very early to try and see how best they can control traffic, because just along this specific road, there's another roundabout, which is the city mortuary roundabout, which is what we were looking at in the first early traffic first link up segment. But just as you branch off from the roundabout, heading all the way to V Road, cabing all the way to Agwek Skodek Road through the roundabout, moving pretty fast. But just before you get to the roundabout, moving, at a slightly slow pace. So that's how traffic is doing this early morning. And we just want to wrap traffic this morning. Also just gave you some alternative routes, especially for those that are using this specific road as you're going about your businesses in the city center. But at least as of now, it is quite manageable, not looking so bad. And that is what is happening along Valley Road as well as Agwek Skodek Road.
Thank you very much, Doreen, for that detailed update as to what is happening on our major roads. And now that brings us to our interactive segment this morning, and we're going to be having a one-on-one session with frontline workers who are dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic from the different areas, different parts of the country, as well in different capacity. Joining us this morning, our first guest live is Rosalind Kagwe, who is the Director of Public Health in Embu County and is in charge of COVID-19 emergency operations in Embu County. Good morning, Rosalind.
Good morning, madam.
Great to have you on board, and thank you for your time. Now, talking about the state of preparedness of Embu County, what is the county's capacity so far to deal with COVID-19?
I would say that Embu County is prepared. We have all the capacity to deal with COVID-19, other than just a few hiccups which are very common in any other county.
How about you just give us a detailed report? We are expecting, the president has convened a meeting between governors that is scheduled for Friday, and Kenyans are really expectant as to what decision that, the executive head of this country is going to take in regard to COVID-19 and the state of preparedness within the counties. You have said that Embu County is prepared, but how prepared is Embu County? How many ICU beds do you have? How many isolation centers do you have? And as well as how many ventilators are we talking about?
We have set aside isolation units with a capacity of 324 beds so far. We have 10 ventilators and 70 monitors so far. We've also been able to sensitize healthcare workers, the frontline healthcare workers, on prevention, on IPC, on COVID in general. And this is about 3/4 or 75% of healthcare workers in Embu County.
Very well
we
said.
Have also been...
No, continue. Sorry for that.
Okay, I want to say that we've also been able to create awareness to the general public. This is about 200,000 members of public. We've also been able to sensitize stakeholders and partners, including clergy. We've also been able to meet organized groups like the security team, so that the message on COVID-19 is trickled down to Wajiko. And this includes the community health volunteers and also the Nyumba Kumi initiative.
Now, speaking about, the public, how are, Embu County constituents actually, are they adhering to this laid down safety protocols in as far as COVID-19? Because we've been receiving reports from various parts of the country that Kenyans, a majority of Kenyans either are not masking properly, they're not sanitizing as they should, and they are not, just maintaining social distancing.
Okay, let me say that amidst other challenges, enforcement has been well done in Embu County. But what I would say is behavior change is gradual. So we are still enforcing the same through the security teams. But I may say the members of public are not wearing masks up to 100%. Of course, we can't miss those who are not really implementing. But I would want to say that Embu County is totally following all the guidelines from the Ministry of Health and implementing.
Embu County falls in a mountainous region, and cold temperatures currently being experienced. From where you sit, are you foreseeing complications going forward? Because the reports that we're getting is that counties are bracing. Like we had a very catchy and also morbid kind of headline yesterday, as counties prepare, or rather are buying more body bags, ahead of the storm. What's your take, being within county, Nairobi, Embu County, and looking at, at its geographical placing and its issues of weather, the cold and such, that has been told, it can actually exacerbate the issue of COVID-19?
Yes, I agree with you, madam. We are likely to have a surge Though Embu County has only 2 confirmed cases, we have several suspected cases. That's about 6 in our isolation units. And this is not usual because for the last 1 month, we've not had many exposed or suspected cases. But as of this week, since Monday, we've started receiving suspected cases who have been exposed following the reopening of the economy. I would want to say that we need to be fully prepared, just like you said, with the body bags, because anything is possible. We are having body deaths, home deaths, but it's not necessarily that it's linked to COVID-19, but that's a stern warning that we need to be fully prepared.
Very well said. Now, going forward, what are you doing as a Director of Public Health in Embu County to just stem the issue of stigma, especially for those who, may have recovered from COVID-19? Issue of stigma and COVID-19. How are you dealing with it?
Thank you, Madam. I want to say that stigma is real, not just the members of public, even to the healthcare workers. And I am just basing this to the fact that COVID-19 is a new disease which we are all learning and adhering to updates and directives. I want to say that through behavior change communication, through sensitization, through a lot of awareness creation, we are able to curb that problem. It's a challenge. And let me also say that in our health setup, we have counselors who are trying to talk to especially the patients because of stigma. And also we have officers who are trained on risk communication. Through risk communication and community engagement, we are able to win people and they are getting to know that COVID-19 is a reality. And in a way, though the behavior change is gradual, we are reducing stigma in Embu County. And from the start, the way it was when we started is not the way we are today. We have seen some changes. People are really now taking it real, and we really appreciate them.
Now, as far as public health is concerned, there have been a lot of criticism about, how various health centers are dealing with patients who come in exhibiting COVID-19 symptoms. Some of them have been saying that they have been turned away. Others have been saying that instead of being treated, we don't have a cure for COVID-19, but other underlying issues are not put, you are looked of as a leper per se, and you're seeking medical attention in various public health centers, but, also private health centers. What is your take in this regard?
Let me say that because of the training which we have done among us healthcare workers, and the early setting of isolation centers in Embu County, that has not been a case. It has not happened. No one has been neglected in any health facility in Embu County. But instead, they have always been, because we are working together as a team, they have always been consulting, and especially when we get suspected cases. This one has been made possible by the triaging system in our health facilities, whereby anybody getting health services in our health facilities in Embu County is screened, and triaging takes place. So we have not experienced that in Embu County. Thank you.
Do you have a plan B in the event of, the laid down measures that you have put in place and the capacity that you have is somewhat overwhelmed? Do you have a plan B in place?
Yes, our plan B is to extend the isolation centers in other facilities. Currently, we have them in level 3 and 4, level 4 and 5, sorry, and we are expanding the same to level 3s, looking for space and setting up an isolation center in all those level 3 facilities.
Now, Rosalind Kagwe, thank you for that update in regard to the state of preparedness and as far as Embu County is concerned. You're the Director of Public Health in Embu County. But before I let you go, I'd want you to take a listen into Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe.
First one, number one, is Rosalind Kaugi. Rosalind, thank you very much. He is in charge of emergency. Maybe you better stand here so that the media can you look at the media, face the media so they can see you. I think they much prefer to take your picture than mine. She is in charge of emergency and operations of COVID-19. She coordinates the county and 4 sub-county response teams. She further coordinates 37 multidisciplinary subcommittees on COVID-19 within the county on preventive services tirelessly.
Indeed, Madam Kaugi, were you expecting that, and how did that make you feel?
I least expected that, but I felt so well. I appreciated, and I really appreciated the frontline healthcare workers in Embu County, because they are. We work as a team, and they are very dedicated and committed, and that led to the recognition.
So from where you sit, is Embu County ready and capable of dealing with any eventuality that COVID-19 may push its way?
I would say yes, because of the current situation in Embu County, the current engagement with all frontline healthcare workers in matters of sensitization and how to handle a COVID patient, the presence of guidelines, and also the capacity in the training. The HR, they are very well trained and they are committed. So in case of any eventuality, we are ready to handle COVID-19 with a lot of support from the Ministry of Health, because on our own as Embu County government, we may not make it. We are also relying in some help or some support from the national government. And I want to be very specific. In matters laboratory, we are relying on NIC, the National Information Center, and the Cambridge for testing. So if the same is extended to us at our level, the county, we will really be prepared. Another thing we would really want to request the national government is to add the human resource on handling, because so far we are extending the isolation centers, and extending means we need more healthcare workers trained on COVID-19 to handle the cases. More so in our ICU and HDU, we still need more capacity to handle as we move to the surge if it happens in Embu County. Thank you.
Very well said. Thank you very much, Rosalind Kauge there, who's the Director of Public Health in Embu County and is also in charge of COVID-19 emergency operations in Embu County. Thank you, Madam. Thank you for your time. Now, just to give a recap and a take home in regard to how Embu County is preparing itself for a surge in COVID-19, given the current numbers that we're seeing, is that Embu County has an isolation unit with 324 beds, as well as 10 ventilators at the moment and 7 monitors. Then the Embu County has already conducted sensitization of workers as well as the public to around 200,000 of those cases. At the same time, also a call there by by Rosalind Kauge, who says that the government needs to add human resources, especially in light of where we are heading as far as COVID-19 infections are concerned. How about we have a listen in before we introduce our next guest this morning on our one-on-one with frontline workers who are handling COVID-19.
The second one is Dr. Kwalib Ali Abdi. Daktari, medical officer working in critical care department at Embu Level 5 Hospital. He is a trainer of trainers on COVID-19 and has been tirelessly involved in training of some 1,562 healthcare workers. And I can tell you, Abdi, that your passion comes through. Even when you are explaining to me about what is happening in the hospital, your passion comes through. Thank you very much for your help.
Our guest this morning. Good morning, Dr. Khalib Ali Abdi. How are you?
Fine, thank you, Jane. Good morning.
Great. I'm doing well. I'd want to know, after you got that recognition from, the Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe there, what did you think about that?
It was very motivating. Actually, I didn't expect it. I've been handling the training of healthcare workers, and especially in the private and also our government hospitals, stemming back up to the sub-county and also our main hospital, Embu Level 5. So I didn't expect that I'll be recognized. So it was a bit moving, and I felt good, actually.
And are you satisfied with the current progress that you have made in training, frontline workers, especially within the critical care sector?
Yes, actually, I've managed to train more than 1,500 healthcare workers, both in private and also the government hospitals. And I've seen actually it trickling down in terms of the behavior change, the way we have been able to handle cases without panic. Training is very important. At least it helps in terms of removing fear and also at least making sure that your patient is also handled well.
There's been quite a debate, on the arrival of Cuban doctors back in the country to just, scale up capacity as far, as medical issue is concerned. What's your take? What's your doctor's take?
My take is actually we need to exhaust our human resource available. Kenya doctors are actually well trained in terms of handling the surge at the moment of COVID-19. So I'll advise the government actually to first of all exhaust the human resource available, and then in case maybe if we are overwhelmed, then maybe we can consider getting help elsewhere. And in terms of speciality, we do have enough specialists, infectious disease specialists, and also medical officers who are well versed in terms of matters of training. And Kenya is a country which is very lucky in terms of even the junior doctors are well versed in terms of handling everything. Basically in terms of maybe surgical practices and matters ICU. Like in my case, I work in the ICU at the Embu Level 5. I'm a medical officer, not a specialist, but I'm able to handle patients by the mentorship actually given by my seniors. So it's possible to use our own resources, and in case we are overwhelmed, that's when we can consider maybe borrowing doctors elsewhere. So that's my take.
So what I'm hearing from you, Daktari, is that Kenya's human resource is still well capable of handling any surge so far, and that you think the government jumped the gun on this particular issue, and they should have given the local health practitioners an opportunity to continue rendering these services?
I can say that the government is also advised by medics like me, who are more experienced. Maybe they did some searching, and maybe there is a reason as why they are considering that setup. But I consider what I'm saying is that there are doctors out there who might come in handy in terms of handling the emergency in different aspects.
Now, Daktari, thank you very much. Now, Daktari, how about you demystify for us something that has been going around, and just would want you to just give us the fact. When we first confirmed the COVID-19 case in March, there's been talk that if you go through a ventilator, you might not just actually, if you're put on ventilator, you might not survive the ordeal. Having handled or rather worked within, the critical department, is this so, or is just this a myth, a misrepresentation of exactly what critical care is all about in as far as COVID-19 is concerned?
Okay, on the aspect of handling COVID-19 patients in ICU, in Embu, we only had two confirmed cases. So in terms of ICU, what I can share with you is maybe the data out there. It has been shown that 38% of the patients will need ventilatory support. 38% of them will succumb. So owing to the fact that majority of these patients, maybe they have other comorbid conditions, they are critically ill. So sometimes there are also effects associated with even the ventilators in terms of barotrauma, and it's an invasive thing. You have to put a tube inside the patient's lung, and then that might even introduce infections. But on the other aspect, it's a win-win situation. So some patients will benefit depending on the ventilator. I can say that it's the ventilator which is killing the patient because you don't have any other choice. So if you don't put the patient on a further support, then the patient at the end will have to die. So There have been some benefits in terms of medications which have shown also benefits in terms of patients improving on the ventilators, like a medication called dexamethasone, which has shown that there is some improvement which a critical care patient can also get in terms of that. So my take is, if a patient needs ventilator, it's important for you to consider putting the patient on the ventilator. And in case maybe you don't put the patient on the ventilator, they will end up still dying.
Very well said. Now, before I let you go, there have been allegations left, right, and center, laid at the door of, public and private health facilities, with persons seeking medical services saying, or rather pointing fingers at the issue of negligence. As a doctor, Hippocratic oath and such. What is your take in regard to such allegations?
Actually, my take is it's very important for a hospital, be it private or government hospital, to have a good triaging system in a way that you should make sure that the personal protective equipment are available, and then you have a situation whereby you can screen your patient, cohort them, in case maybe there are some who maybe might fit the working case definition of a suspect. Then it's important for them to be handled by the healthcare workers in proper regalia. So in case maybe there is no such system, then it can be very difficult for maybe the doctors, nurses, or clinic officers, or the frontline healthcare workers to handle that patient. Like in our case in Embu Level 5, what we have done is we have made sure that at least there is a specific group in terms of triaging such cases, and they are given all the personal protective equipment in case maybe we have a suspect that fits let's say, a suspected case of COVID-19. And then they are handled very fast, taken to the isolation, and the patient is also tried to be assisted in terms of understanding what's going on and how he or she should be handled, so that to prevent depression, stigma, and what have you, that is also associated with COVID-19. So my take is it's important for us to at least make sure that we have all the set systems at our triaging places, so that at least we don't let patients out there who maybe some might need oxygen as such, and maybe if they're handled faster, maybe they will be alive.
Now, as we come to a close and I let you go, Daktari, is in light of the current trend that we're seeing, according to data from the Ministry of Health, is that Kenya might be getting to a peak as far as COVID-19 infections are concerned, late August, early September. Are counties ready? Is our medical, or rather our healthcare system as a country, ready to deal with this eventuality, if and then and when it happens?
Actually, the president had given the guideline to the county governments to make sure at least the number of beds surpass 300 for isolation, and we have capacities to handle critical care patients in terms of high dependency unit and also ICU. In the case of, let me just use in the case of the county that I work in the case of Embu Level 5, also the hospital that I work in, we have set ICU beds, HDU, and isolation unit. The major challenge is actually on human resource. So human resource actually might be a problem in case maybe the case is such. In terms of infrastructure-wise, we are set. So in terms of handling very few numbers, I can't extrapolate how many, but what I'm trying to say is there might be increase in numbers. So even it will reach a time maybe where handling patients in the hospitals will be a challenge. That's why maybe you might need to consider home-based care. Like in the case of Italy, which was overwhelmed, you found a way that maybe some patients were not even being admitted to hospitals because of lack of space. So the way to go is make sure that we address the issue of human resource, and we'll have to make sure at least we also bring the issue of home-based care, and for people to at least understand. And in case of places that maybe home-based care is not possible to, in terms of homes which don't fit the home-based care criteria, then we should think of institutions which can be turned to communal home-based care system. But in our case, if maybe now we have cases in Embu, we are able to manage. But if they increase, then such elements that I had told you in terms of human resource needs to be addressed, and we should start with our Kenyan doctors.
Thank you very much, Daktari Halib Ali Abdi, working currently as a medical officer as well as charge of the critical care department. Thank you very much for your time. How about we take a sneak peek into what is next?
I also want to recognize Molly Jue. Where is Molly? Molly, karibu. And Molly is a nursing officer in charge of Embu Level 5 Isolation Center for her effectiveness in managing the isolation center. Molly, thank you so much.
Thank you very much there, Molly Joy, for joining us in this conversation this morning as we're having a one-on-one with COVID-19 warriors. After that particular recognition, what was your feel when you were, mentioned alongside other frontline workers who have done something remarkable for Embu County?
Wow, it was quite a good thing. Only that I didn't expect it.
Mm-hmm. So it was unexpected.
And I owe all of that to the team we work with because they have been very supportive and they have made me come this far.
Mm-hmm. So in your role as a supervising nursing services, exactly maybe take us through exactly what your duties are.
Oh, my duties are being the team leader of the group or the in charge of the group. So I oversee the nursing services and the activities of the unit goes on effectively. I also do multidisciplinary team coordination so that the patient can get holistic care. So I team up with the medical team, the nutrition for the patients, the patient's food and the patient's welfare. I also team up with the cleaning services. We also team up with the psychosocial support for the patient because sometimes even when the nurse is trained as a counselor, you feel you're getting overwhelmed. So you feel you need the psychosocial trained counselors to assist. And they have come quite well in handy to help us. And they have been very supportive because they also counsel the patient, they also counsel the staff, so they give us the morale to continue going and serving the patient.
Now, the Kenya National Union of Nurses, the body has been saying that it is not satisfied in the way nurses are, they're not, basically nurses are not receiving fair treatment, especially in as far as, their salaries and wages are concerned, in comparison to doctors and such. Do you feel that, there's a disparity when it comes, between, how doctors and nurses are treated?
Okay, in the treatment of nurses, we feel we are not being treated well and we should be given better remunerations. But nursing being a call, we have always come in handy to assist patient. Mm-hmm. But we feel the government should come in handy and give us better remunerations.
As a person as a nurse who happens to be, on the front line, the issue of PPEs has come in handy now with, just a report that indicates that over 500 health workers have been exposed to COVID-19. What is your take in regard to just, the personal, safety equipment being availed within the county level, or rather devolved units? Are you satisfied with what you are receiving?
Okay, we feel we should receive more, but one thing we have come to understand is that a pandemic is not an emergency. So if I'm not supplied the required PPEs, they should first be supplied for me to attend to the patient. So if they are not supplied, I can't attend to the patient. But if they are supplied, I'm always willing to support the patient. Mm-hmm. And in our county, they have always worked very well that they supply them for the patient when they are needed.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'd want to have your take in regard to just how, you are handling the stress and anxiety, that has come up with this issue of COVID-19, bearing in mind the issue of stigmatization and the level of exposure of you being a nurse and frontline worker. How are you handling the stress and anxiety?
Okay, being a health worker and COVID-19 being a new disease, and all what it has come to, that nobody was prepared for it. Now what has come handy is that we first received training, so we became aware what COVID is and how we should protect ourselves. Then through sensitization even of the other staffs, they have also been supportive. Though stigma has been there, we have, working as a team, has helped us, even sensitizing other staffs that they need to support us and they need to know that being in isolation is not that you are isolated. They also need to support us. And also working hand in hand with the psychosocial counselors in the hospital, that has helped us. Like we have one of the psychosocial counselors, Rusi Nyaga, who has been helpful. She has come to help us with the staffs personally. She has also come hand in hand to support the patient. And she has also been willing, if you want to talk to her anytime, even through the phone, she has also been willing to assist us. So, teamwork, then consulting the psychosocial counselors, that has come quite handy and it has helped us to cope.
Mm-hmm.
And also support from the administration has been very good.
In the public opinion court, there have been allegations that both public and private, health facilities, have been accused of negligence. And to just take you back to that conversation, you said that if you do not have the requisite, personal safety equipment, you would be skeptic to rendering your service as a nurse. In regard to these allegations, in regard, negligence in this public and also private health institutions, what is your take in that regard?
Okay, we have been feeding the neighboring public facilities, having some not working handy in handy, but we have consulted with the director and the CEC, and they have promised that they are going to talk to them and also sensitize them that they should also not just refer all the patients, they should also work in hand to support us in the COVID-19. It is teamwork. It's not a one-man show. We should all work in hand to fight this pandemic. So the county government has promised that they are going to talk to them, and we are expecting that they are going to change, and we are going to work hand in hand with them.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Nurse Molly Joy, who's a supervising of nursing, and nursing services, coordinating nursing services in the isolation center. She's also an ophthalmic nurse, saying that indeed that it is teamwork to ensure that things remain smooth sailing in light of increased cases of COVID-19. Just to give us a summary of how prepared Embu County is, that so far they have isolation units with 324 beds, 10 ventilators, 7 monitors so far, and sensitization of health workers has also been attained, as well as just issues of the general public. In regards to the adherence of the laid down safety protocols, our earlier guest Rosalind Kauge said that she's conducting issues of public awareness have taken center stage, and she's saying that Kenyans, or rather constituents of Embu County, are adhering to the laid down protocols. In regard to the preparedness, come the rising numbers, or rather what we're expecting over the next few weeks in regard to just the surging numbers that we have. Dr. Halib Abdi says that they are ready in that capacity, and that Plan B is in place to ensure that Kenya's medical system, especially within Embu County, is not overwhelmed. Now let us have a sneak peek onto the next clip
also wish to recognize Derek Munene. Derek Munene, driver. He's an ambulance driver. Munene, asante sana. Munene is an ambulance driver in Embu Level 5 Hospital, and he took the response team to evacuate the very first case recorded in Embu County without fear, but I hope you had a mask on.
Introducing Derek Munene. Good morning and thank you for your time.
Good morning to you.
Great. Just tell us how you feel. What was your immediate reaction when you heard your name being called out by Health Cabinet Secretary there, Mutahi Kagwe?
At first, I didn't expect that. But due to the training that I received, the commitment that I had, I definitely wanted to appreciate the recognition.
Mm-hmm. Now, those who do not know Derek Munene, how about you just introduce yourself and tell us what you do in as far as, the value chain, what you're calling, we're having one-on-one with COVID-19 frontline workers who we are referring to as warriors. How about you just shed light into your day-to-day duties in this space?
To start with, I'm Derek Munene Jeru. On the line of duty, I work as an ambulance driver, committed at the Embu 5 Hospital, and even work within the Embu County, level of the Embu County.
Mm-hmm. Now,
secondly, with the support of the county government, the Embu 5 staff, and the administration, working hand in hand to ensure that in the case I'm called, I'm there on time, and I'm providing with the right the equipment to enable me to attend to the patient as planned.
Mm-hmm. Now, in light of your duties as a frontline worker, what are you doing to ensure that to safeguard yourself from exposure? Because I'm imagining if you're responding to an emergency, you really maybe do not have the full details in terms of the extent of the emergency that you are responding to. What do you do to ensure that you're safeguarding yourself from the risk of exposure?
Okay, when the coronavirus was announced in Kenya, I personally continued to receive a training on how to handle a suspected or a confirmed case on the coronavirus patient. First, we are taught on how to dress the PPEs that you are provided with on the time they are required. Therefore, whenever I'm called on a duty or to pick a patient, either from home or from another facility, I have to dress with my PPEs as provided from the hospital, and with the help of also a trained nurse who will also confirm that whatever that I've done when it comes to dressing, I'm fit toward the patient.
Mm-hmm. Now, Munene, I understand that you carried out the first evacuation of a COVID-19 patient. How about you just share your experience in that, given that COVID-19 is a pandemic that we do not have any prior information in regard to that. It seems.
Hamjambo Wakenya wenzangu. Mimi ni Mheshimiwa Mize. Ninalotaka kuambia ni kuwasihi ya kwamba korona iko. Na ili tupigane nayo na tuishinde. Ukikohoa, tafadhali kama una ile ya kujifunika ile tissue, weka mkono hapa. Kama ni chafya yako atyo na itabakia pale pale. Kama ni kukohoa yako koholea hapo. Na nakwambia tukizingatia sheria na tuitii, hii korona tutaishinda na nchi yetu tutarudi kama kawaida.
On the next episode
Of nowhere, her son Ramon, and only heaven knows why he was in that house, threw himself at me. He was yelling and he just hit me and I am just an old woman who's defenseless against him.
Hortensia is pretending to be frail to take advantage of the situation. Shameless.
If she's blaming Ramon for something he never did, just imagine what else she can do.
She disappoints me more every day.
Now the only thing I can think of is I wish he had never come here.
Oh no, he's not the problem, my friend.
In love with Ramon.
Good morning. If you're tuning in, this is KBC Channel 1 and Good Morning Kenya. And this morning on our interactive segment, we've been having a conversation with COVID warriors. Online was a driver, an ambulance driver that we call Munene. He was just telling us of his first evacuation experience. Munene, we have you back online. We wanted to share your experience on that first evacuation of a COVID-19 patient. What was your experience and what were your immediate thoughts when you had to do that particular evacuation?
As I was saying, at times it's become so difficult, and for me, at first, it was a challenge to me. But due to the training that I had received, I had to take courage, I had to volunteer, as I had promised that I had to do. Saving a person's life is a priority to me. So when I was called and informed of the case, I had to be dressed with the PPEs that I was provided with. I also had to ensure that I had what was required, the sanitizers, the mask, the gloves, and also to ensure that the nurse who accompanied me was also well dressed with the PPEs, and also positively and willing to accompany me to attend to the patient. Mm-hmm. First and foremost, once I met the patient, I had to ensure that he had the mask that was fully that was worn in the right way, and also to provide with the other gloves to ensure that he did not touch any part of the ambulance with the bare hands, whether from where he was sitting or even as he bonded to the ambulance. Mm-hmm. I also wanted to take the initiative to make sure that the ambulance was, I had to open the ambulance and ensure that the patient was safe from where he was sitting, and also the nurse who accompanied me was also well from where he was. Then, once you have, I picked the patient, we are all to go all the way through to Emperor 5, where we end the isolation, confidently, knowing that what we did, we need the right thing and to the right person.
Mm-hmm. Now, on a personal scale, the issue of survival is for every human being as well as living creature. Why are you scared at that moment? Why are you scared?
Okay, first, coronavirus, it was announced in Kenya, it was a new disease. Secondly, earlier on, there were no trainings that had been done before the COVID-19 disease was announced. Then after it was announced, that the time as the county government also took the initiative to train the staff, I being one of them. So if I had not received the training, actually I could not handle the patient the way I was supposed to do. But since no one was ready for that, or for the patient, I take the initiative from the knowledge that I had acquired. And since I never knew how is the patient is, how the patient is, was the patient able to walk, or was he to be lifted from where he was? So that was the fear. Is this person able to walk, or am I the person to lift up the patient to the ambulance?
Thank you very much, Damek Munene, there for sharing your experience. And you and the rest of every other person who we are terming as frontline workers in light of COVID-19 pandemic, you are heroes of our time, and we wish you all the best. And we hope you also take care of yourselves to just, risk the limit of exposure as you continue doing service to man and service to country. Thank you very much for your time. Doreen?
Thanks so much.
Well, time for our next conversation of the day. Workouts and COVID-19 is our focus. Joining me on set, Stephen Ukoth, a fitness coach and CEO at Dicoplofit. Stephen, good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm good.
Well geared up for some workouts?
Yeah, we're ready for workouts, always.
Always?
Yeah.
All right, let's start with Dicoplofit. What kind of trainings happens there? What kind of workouts happens in that specific area?
Dicoplofit is all about full fitness. We are basically everywhere in the fitness, including sports, swimming, football. When it comes to gym, when it comes to physio, we are all over. So that is all about Decouple Fitness. So we gave ourselves challenge to be everywhere in fitness. Yeah.
So everywhere in fitness, even the cardio exercise as well?
Yeah, definitely. We do cardio, we do toning, we do assessments. Yeah. So we are all over.
And doing everything, this was actually before COVID?
This was before COVID. Okay. Before COVID, we were training in the most of the gyms. So we do personal training, and we do online training. Yeah. So after COVID is when now we stopped visiting the gyms. Yeah.
So when you say you stopped visiting the gym, so how then were the workouts being done, or how are you training people on matters fitness?
Before COVID?
Now after?
After COVID now, we decided now to form an online fitness company, whereby now we train clients online through making some programs for fitness, and then we follow up from there to get targets. Yeah. So we train mostly on Skype and Zoom. Yeah.
Wow, that is really interesting, and I'm interested to want to know how that actually happens, because anytime you hear a workout, first of all, there's that idea of lazima nikwe kwa gym.
Yes,
there has to be a trainer there, just guiding me on what to do. But online, how does that work?
Now, let me just explain it slowly. What happens is, I do an assessment for you first. I need to know your targets. I need to know if you have any problem.
Before you do the assessment, do I have to register?
Yeah, you have to. Okay. You have to pay.
Because how would you know I exist?
You have to. Yeah. That's first, and then now after that we take you slowly. We give you few workouts to test your fitness level, and then now we know where we're going to keep you, and then there's someone who will monitor you. We have 4 trainers. There's someone who will monitor you to know how you're training, how your fitness level is building, so that we can get your targets at the end of the day. Yeah.
Wow. And how long has Dicoplofit been in the market? How long have you been operating, and how has it been?
Yeah, Dicoplofit started 2 years ago, Yeah, and
So at least it has been there for quite some time.
yeah, it
Australia
has
is
been
not
there.
like,
Yeah, it has been there before COVID.
Yeah, before COVID.
So COVID has spoiled everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Decouple of It has been there, and we've been trying as much as we can to reach out more clients even outside the country. So if we talk about online, it's everywhere. So yeah, that's it.
Clearly.
Yes, yes.
All right, now let's talk about the basic kind of workout. This is someone who wants to start doing exercises.
Yeah.
Which is the basic? What would you recommend?
The basic first is to know your fitness level.
Yeah.
Through knowing your fitness level is when I'll be guided how to coach you. Yeah. So I'll give you few workouts. I'll definitely know. When I give you like burpees, when I give you like push-ups, I'll know your fitness level. And then now I can take you from there. It will be easy for me now to recommend some few exercises that will guide you to your targets.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'm also seeing you came with another guest, that is Angelica. She'll be demonstrating to us all this that you're mentioning when you say push-up, the first workout, what exactly it means. But when you say that the first thing that someone needs to understand is someone's fitness level, for the benefit of our viewers, when you talk about that, what exactly do you mean? What are you alluding to?
Okay. What I can say about that is you can be having joint problems. You can be having asthma, you're asthmatic or something. So
Maybe
I cannot,
you're sickly?
I cannot just give you workouts, because maybe I can injure you or something. So I need to know like your medical report, your fitness level.
That also has to feature.
Yeah, definitely. Or else I'll send you back to the doctor. Yeah.
So this thing is not just about working out, getting that body in shape.
No.
Oftentimes we want to like feel nice in our bodies. All of these have to feature in before you put someone.
We have to have a beginning. Yes. And for me to take you in a professional way, I need to know so many things about you, about your body. So I need to take care of that before
taking. What are
taking
so many
exercise.
other things except just the medical report?
Okay, I need to know about your targets.
Okay.
I need to know maybe mostly it's asthmatic. Someone can be asthmatic and you put him or her on a cardio session. She will definitely go down. Yeah. So those are the very important keys that we need to put down before we start any workout. Yeah.
So ultimately, this also means that any underlying disease or that someone may have, it is also important before they're put on any kind of workout, regardless of the fact that you want to get a nice body, you want to be fit as an individual.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's talk about the family. Seeing that right now so much time is being spent at home because of this COVID.
Yeah, definitely.
And parents are at home, children are at home. Which is the best kind of exercise for those people in a family setup?
Okay. The best exercise for family setup is full body workout.
What does that entail?
Full body workout means you're working out your cardio, you're working out your heart rate, you're working out from every part of the muscle in your body. So I can't give, when I'm giving online exercise and I'm giving to a family, now there's a kid, it goes like that. So you find out I'll just give basic workout that touches full body. Yeah.
Basic workouts that touches full body. And our director is just saying that he wants us to start with the shoulder press. Maybe you can just explain to us which kind of workout is that, and that can it be done in a family setup?
Yeah, it can. Shoulder can be done with everyone. So shoulder press works basically for the shoulder part, the front part and the back part. So it gives you strength you can be strong on lifting something or pushing something because you'll be using your shoulder and your triceps. Yes.
Well, is Angelica ready for her to demonstrate for us the shoulder press? Angelica, maybe you can just demonstrate for us what Stephen was talking about, at least for our viewers to better understand what it means. So that right there, that is Angelica. I don't know if we can get her. Yeah, right. Okay. Now that's Angelica doing. So Stephen, as Angelica is doing that, maybe you can just continue explaining to us what it does to one's body, exactly.
Yeah. What I can say about that workout, it keeps you strong, and it works out like the triceps part, it works out the shoulder part. So when you're pushing it up, as Angelica she's demonstrating, it even works on the lat. lat muscle. Yes.
And how beneficial then is that? Because, when you talk about the child, I'm thinking of probably men who want to get muscle.
No. We are talking about toning. Toning is for everyone. You can tone your hand, you can tone whether it's a lady or a man. Yeah. You can just tone everywhere. Yeah.
So that is the one that Angelica is doing, like you mentioned, is the shoulder.
Yes, is the shoulder press.
Shoulder press.
Yes.
All right. Now, when we're talking about workouts for a family setup, how important is that in terms of family? What does it do for a family? Even if talk about this kind of workouts that also Angelica is doing.
The shoulder press.
Yes.
The shoulder press. If it comes to a family, now we need to divide the kind of weight they are using. Like Angelica here, she's using a 1 liter bottle, which there are 2 now. Now that is 2 liters. So it depends. You cannot give a child 2 liters to lift for the shoulder press. Now they need to do free hands. Now without the bottle.
With nothing at all.
Yes, but now for the adults, they can use 1 liter, 2 liters, depending on your fitness, strength and level. So if you want to know your fitness level, now when you're doing heavy shoulder press, if you can't do more than 10 reps, it means it's heavier for you. So you need to reduce that weight to like 8 kgs or something. Yeah. So if you want to know, just continue pressing till you feel the muscle. It's getting sore. Yeah.
Till you feel the muscles.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the
biceps curls.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And I'd also want Angelica to demonstrate it for us before we can talk about that. And just have Angelica demonstrate that next body workout, right? So there's Angelica. The next workout, bicep curl.
Yeah, good.
So that is, again, still using the same,
weight,
the same tools, and still the same weight. Talk to us about that one.
Biceps curls, it's basically for the arms, for this part of the arm, and biceps curl can be done with anyone. So I'll just go back to what I said. It depends with the weight you're carrying. If it's a kid, free weights. If it's an adult, you add weight. So it works. You'll be getting strong on the arms for you to lift anything, or for you to look good.
It helps the arms.
Yeah, it helps this part of the arm.
Okay.
So for ladies, I think you want to look good. Yeah. So that is toning basically. But for men, we need to look strong. So we need to build some muscle with heavy weight. Yeah.
And also with the same one, it can still be done, by anyone in a family setup.
Yes. It can be done by anyone. Okay. So I'll advise if you're having maybe joint problems or something, you do free weights, biceps curls. So you can just do free weights. But if you're strong enough, you can use some weight. For example, for us, we're using 1 liter bottle, so you can lift as heavy as you can. Yeah.
Can it be done in a home setup?
It can be. It can be done by a home setup.
It can be done in a home setup.
Yes.
All right, again, just to remind our viewers, I'm speaking to Stephen Okoth, CEO, Decoplofic, talking to us about body workouts and exercise, especially during COVID-19. What are some of the exercises that you can engage in as an individual to help you in whatever capacity? That's just what we are talking about. At least we've touched on 2 body exercises. As of now, we will still continue to unpack more of the exercise and also to understand what exactly it means when you talk about body workouts and body exercise. Now, coming back to you, Stephen, earlier on when we were beginning the conversation, you had said that also when you talk about basic workouts, there's that kind of workout that you recommend for someone who wants to start, someone who's never worked out, never done exercise, but you can recommend. Yeah. And I'd like you to mention to us which ones are this, and then we'll have Angelica demonstrate.
Okay, basic workouts. Me as a coach, I'll recommend you do full body workouts. Full body workouts, it means now you're going to do a certain exercise without weight, and you're doing it slowly, and you're doing it with less reps, less repetitions. Like if you're counting 10, you'll start with 5, build to 6, build to 8, build to 10. Okay. Yes.
So which ones are these ones?
These ones are like you can you can do inchworms.
Let's start with that one before you go to the others. Let's have Angelica demonstrate for us the inchworms, and this is basically for someone who's never worked it, never done exercise, and you're trying to get into fitness. So that's Angelica. Let's just have Angelica demonstrate for us the inchworms. Yeah. These are the basic workouts for someone who's beginning body workouts. Can you have the image of Angelica demonstrating for us the inchworms? Yeah, so that's it. So how does this help one? Because you're looking at someone who has never done exercise before.
Yeah, there's a beginner's inchworms and there's an advance. So I think before we talk about that, Angelica can do the beginners and the advance first. Yes.
Angelica, let's begin with the beginners, the inchworms. So there we have it.
Yeah.
Well, it looks quite a bit intense in as much as it's for beginners.
Yeah.
So how many reps then does a beginner needs to do when it comes to that, and how does it help?
Yeah, I think for a beginner you should start with 5 reps. So after 5 reps is when you'll build now to other repetitions that you want. But what I can say about the beginner's workout is you need to feel the muscle, the shoulder part, you need to feel the core. It tightens the core and it helps you have strong core. So if you do 5 reps and you feel your muscles are being sore, so you should maintain on the 5 reps or less than 5 reps. If you feel you're good enough and you can hold it, you can go up to 10 reps.
Okay.
Yes.
And what about the advanced one? Before we talk about the advanced one, let's have again Angelica demonstrate for us the advanced inchworms. How do they look like? Wow, she's going down and down. So this is what it means for it to be at an advanced.
An advanced, yes, yeah.
And you have to do like that, go down, come up, go down.
Yes, you have to do that.
This is what makes it significant?
Yeah.
Okay, then again, what is the advantage of, that one, the advanced stage compared to the one for beginners, as you had explained?
The advantage is you'll know your fitness level. Okay. That's it. Yes. Because if you see you can do 5 reps and then you graduate to 10 reps, it means your fitness level is increasing.
Your fitness level is at least increasing. Now let's talk about the warm-ups, and I'd also love Angelica to demonstrate for us. When you talk about warming up before the actual exercise, what exactly do we mean? What is the importance of that before we can get to the demonstration bit of it?
Okay, what I can say about warm-up is getting ready of your muscles, getting ready of your heart rate. So it's very important for someone who wants to work out to warm up his muscles or her muscles, so that at the end of the exercise, he or she cannot get sore. Yeah.
So, as a fitness coach, someone who's in this training capacity, which kind of exercise would you recommend for a warm up?
For a warm up,
yes.
Warm up is basically full body workout. You can do the quadriceps, you can do the jumps.
Before we go to to those other ones, as you talk about them bit by bit, I'd love our guest on the other side to demonstrate for us. You said the first one is what?
So she can do the leg curl for quadriceps.
Leg curl.
Leg curl.
Angelica, that looks like a bit of a technical word there for someone who's not into fitness. So just help us see what Steve is talking about. 1 foot down, and then this is for a warm up.
That's for a warm up.
And this is for anyone, either a beginner or at an advanced stage.
Yes.
Okay. Let's have the other one. Which other one can you do for a warm up?
We can do the jumping jacks.
Angelica, that one. And if I may ask, the repetitions, especially for this one, what would you recommend? I
would recommend 20 reps.
20 reps.
Yes.
This is before you do the actual exercise.
Yes.
But by the time you're doing the actual exercise, wouldn't you be tired?
No. Now your body will be active. Your muscles will be ready to take anything. Yeah. So this is just a warm up to increase your heart rate, and then now the muscles will be ready. When you want to work out, now you'll feel like, now my body is ready, I can go as much as I can. Yes.
Now, what about another warm-up, probably the last warm-up that someone can do before they get to the actual exercise? Which one would you recommend?
Okay, I'll recommend knee-ups. Yeah, so you alternate knee-ups.
Angelica, how does the knee-ups look like? And how many reps are those ones?
I'll still recommend on 20. Yeah.
That is 20 again?
Yeah, 20 again. Yeah.
And this is before the actual exercise?
Yes. So I'll talk about a minute.
Keep going, Angelica, as you're showing us the knee reps. Yeah.
I'll talk about a minute on warm-up. So I'll give let me say 3 exercise, which will last for 20 reps, and then 10 reps. So it means when you're counting 20, that is 20 seconds, count 20 seconds, and then 10 seconds. I think it's good for a beginner to feel like he or she's ready, he's ready to work out. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you've seen the way Angelica has been doing the knee reps. Looks like someone who's really been doing this, for a while. Yeah. Is there a right way of doing, especially those knee reps?
Yeah, there's a way. She can do it on a slow motion. Yeah.
Angelica, show us the slow motion bit.
For the knee up, yes.
Okay. So that is the slow motion for the knee up.
Yes.
And the other one which she was doing, that was
an advance.
Advanced. Oh.
Yes,
So in every exercise you have
there's a beginner and there's an advance.
Yes, and that is for someone who is starting as well as,
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want us to talk about something very important, especially when you talk about exercise and workouts, and this is in regards to foods. Because anytime when we talk about exercise, someone would say, as long as I can eat whatever I want, I'll just work out. Mwisho wa siku nitafanya tu exercise. Talk to us about the right set of food, especially when you're doing body exercise and you want to achieve a certain goal.
Depends on the goal first. There's that one who wants to add weight. There's that one who wants to lose weight. So it will depend with the client. When I talk about someone who wants to add weight, he should put more of carbohydrates. Yeah, and then when I talk about someone who wants to lose weight, you should take a lot of greens. Yes, that's what I can say, and a lot of water. Yes.
What is the importance of water when it comes to fitness?
Yeah, now the importance of water is to hydrate yourself every time, because you see you're losing a lot of water when you're working out. So it helps to pump the blood more faster. Yeah.
More faster.
Yeah.
So that means then can you advise that probably, for instance, if I'm doing the warm-ups before I do the actual exercise, can I take water before I can actually continue the exercise? Is that or water in between?
Okay, you can take water like 30 minutes or an hour before workout, and that means like a glass. Yeah. And if you're working out, you can always sip water, because you see, if you take much of water, you won't work out.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's important you do that before.
Why is that so?
Because now you'll be full.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you're jumping, water is jumping inside your body.
If you're jumping, water is jumping inside you. So that then when it comes to junk food again, because I really want us to stick a bit on the issue of food, because then again, there's always that idea of, must I go on a diet? I'm still working out. So when it comes to junk food, probably to what amount can someone take, or do they have to do away with it completely?
What I can say is you need that food. You need that food. But now, when it comes to workout and losing weight, now you should reduce the portion. Because if I tell you for sure now, if I tell you don't eat chicken, you won't eat. Definitely, you'll cheat me. Yeah? So what I'll say, just eat, but now reduce slowly. When you reduce the portion, you'll feel, one time you'll just feel like, I don't need this chicken. Yeah, that's what I can say. So just reduce your portion slowly by slowly, and then your body will adapt. Yeah.
So what you're saying as a fitness advisor, as a fitness coach, that it is okay.
It's okay, but now reduce. Yeah, I've not said it's okay, everyone should go and eat. No.
It's important to
just reduce
to what
slowly.
Extent.
Yeah, you just reduce, because you won't stop it at once.
Yeah.
You'll be cheating any trainer. Okay. So just reduce slowly by slowly till you get it.
Till you get it.
Yeah, it's a fitness journey. You cannot lose it with 2 weeks, 2 days. No. It's a fitness journey. You need to take it slowly by slowly. Yeah.
Okay. You said something very important. It's a fitness journey. Let's take it slowly by slowly, which brings me to my next question, especially when it comes to us as ladies. Does that time when you have that belly fat, you've been eating a lot of carbohydrates, starch, fats, and then you just feel like, instead of working out, I'll take lemon water, hot or warm. Is that mythical? Is that true? Does it help?
What I can say, it helps, yes. But remember, your target is to get away with the tummy.
Okay.
Now, there's something called toning. The lemon won't tone your body. It will just reduce the calories. But when it comes to tone, now you'll be hanging, like the body will be fluffy.
So the tummy would have reduced, but
but it will be fluffy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's important to also work out.
It's always important to work. You can lose weight, but you should tone.
Yes, you should tone. You're saying so much energy. You should tone.
Yeah, you
so
should
just
tone,
for the benefit of ladies like me outside there who think that lemon water hot is the way to go. You don't have to lift and do push-ups. Actually, you say that it is very important.
It's important
to also work out.
To also work out.
All right. Yeah. And also, as a fitness trainer, given the fact that you're talking about workouts in COVID-19, there has been that argument of working out with face masks on, because we know right now, you have to just be wearing your face mask. It is part of protecting yourself from this disease.
Yes.
Is it advisable to do exercise, whether running, morning runs, evening runs, with face masks?
No, it's not advised.
Why?
Because you see, for the oxygen that you put in and out, it's always important to, like, you cannot inhale again, because you see, when you're putting on the mask, there's a heat coming out. So it's not always good to take it back in again. So what I can advise on that, it's always important to work out on an open air, whereby you can just pull down your mask and then you exercise for your oxygen to be,
Okay, before we get to the next bit of the question, I just love Angelica to show us one last exercise, and this is the push-ups, because oftentimes you find people doing it in a very funny way, different way, maybe not the right way. Yes. If you could just have Angelica showing us how to do push-ups the
with
right
the
way.
Beginners.
Let's
start with the beginners. Yes.
Okay, Angelica, take it away with the beginners, how it's done. Yeah. So that is how push-ups for beginners looks like. You have to go down like that.
Yeah.
What is the importance of that?
The importance of push-up is to tighten your core. It works out on your chests. It works out on your triceps. It works out on your shoulders. Yes.
So it looks like it's an all-round
it's an
body
all-round.
exercise.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many reps or repetitions does one need to do? Especially this is for beginners.
For beginners, you can do 10 reps as you build up slowly to an advance.
To an advance.
Yes.
Now let's see how the advance then looks like. Angelica? So the advanced looks... What is the difference then between the one for beginners and the one for advanced?
Now the advance, she or he will be using a lot of core strength.
Okay.
Yeah. But for the advance, you're being supported by your knee.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you say core strength, what exactly does that mean?
Core strength, most of the energy comes from the stomach. You see, you need to hold it for you to do the workout perfectly. If you cannot hold it, it means now your core is not strong enough to hold the exercise.
All right.
Yes,
Again, I've just remembered one exercise again, which I'd love also Angelica to show us, and this are the squats.
Yes.
Angelica, show us the squats for beginners. How is it done? So you have to be in a certain position. I'm seeing her getting like into position before she can start doing it. She starts doing it. So how does it look good? And she's not getting all the way down.
Yes.
How does this one help? And can it be done also by males, or is it just a female kind of exercise?
Okay, what I can say, squats is for everyone.
Okay.
Squats is for everyone. Now, for men, we build a lot of quadriceps muscle.
When they do the squats?
When they do the squats, they build a lot of quadriceps muscles. And for the ladies, they build a lot of glutes and butts.
Okay. And then also in this specific one, there's also a beginners and an advanced one.
Yeah, there's beginners
How
and
does
advanced.
advanced one look like? Angelica? You have to go down.
You have to go down.
And how many reps are this one for the advanced stage of doing something?
Now for the advanced, it depends with the weight you're putting on. Yeah, you can do 50 kgs, 100 kgs. Now it will depend. You can go like 20 reps, 15 reps. So what you always do is at times we drop set. Drop set means you start with 20 reps, reduce it to 15, reduce it to 10. Yes, because we always do three sets. Yeah.
Okay.
So the first set you can start with 20, reduce it to 15, and then 10. Yeah.
And the benefits are still the same, either male or female cuts across.
The benefits are still the same.
Okay. Now let's talk about time.
Yes.
Again, there's also that argument that when you want to exercise, it's like there's a right and specific time for exercising. Is that the case?
No, I don't think that's the case, because you see, working out, it's you. It's your mindset. So you can work out early morning, you can work out lunchtime. So it depends with you, because you see, some of us, most of the clients, they say working out in the morning is good because they do it and then that's it. They go, But some of them say if you work out in the morning, then you'll be tired the whole of the day. No, that's not true.
That's new. I don't
that's
think
not
I've ever
true.
had that.
When you work out in the morning, it's good because now you'll be refreshed. So it depends with you. You can even work in the evening, work out in the evening, but you're still okay. So it depends with someone.
So yes, in as much as you're saying it depends with someone, but also what I'm getting from you is that morning looks like
For me, morning is always good.
Is the best.
Yeah, morning
This is
good.
because it just sets your day, or there's other advantages of doing it in the morning?
Other advantages is people are busy. Yeah. So when you wake up, you do like an hour, and then you go to work. You'll be okay. But in the evening, for me, it's tricky because now my head has...
You're tired.
Yeah,
you
I'm
don't
tired.
even feel like you want to lift anything or do any kind of push-ups.
So for me, morning, I think it's the best time.
Morning is the best, and also as a fitness...
And it refreshes the mind, yes.
Also, it's the best, and also as a fitness coach, at least you would recommend mornings also.
Morning, yes,
it cuts across and what suits best an individual.
Yes.
And how about injuries? When you're working out, exercising, whether, intense or even just the cardios, how do you avoid injuries?
What I can say about injuries, and it comes with an accident. So there's a proper way to have the workout. There's a proper way to do a workout. So I always recommend people to have a trainer, a personal trainer, someone who can be there to just stand there and see whatever you're doing. It's very important.
It's very important.
Yes, it's very, very important. So I would recommend someone to have a trainer to avoid the necessary injuries. Yes.
And in an instance where one can't get a trainer, then how do you go about avoiding injuries?
Definitely, all gyms now, they're advanced and trainers are always there. It's not like way back. Nowadays, we have someone to check. So for you, for a client, you're supposed to ask for assistance. If you know you're going heavy or you know you're not sure about what you're doing, so just ask, and definitely someone can be there. Yeah.
Okay. And in a case in point where someone gets injured while working out, it doesn't matter which kind of exercise it is, how long does one need to take before they can go back to exercising?
Now that one depends on maybe when he or she is on the physio sessions, if it's a deep injury, or if it's not, then it means maybe it has stretched or something. So you just need to do lots of stretches, and then you can now come back to exercise. So it depends. You can take like a week rest or 2 weeks rest, and then you come back. But when you're resting, it's always important to stretch your body every time. Yeah. Basic stretches.
Basic stretches.
Yes.
Again, I think I'd like Angelica to show us how basic stretches look like. And this is especially for someone who probably got injured and they want to get back to exercising. Angelica, how does that one look like? Those are the basic stretches.
Yeah.
So this is what someone needs to be doing.
Yes.
If at all you got injured before you can get into the actual physical exercise.
Yes.
All right. And how does this then help?
It helps because you see now the muscle is being activated again. Yeah. Because you see, when you get an injury or maybe a muscle, you've pulled your muscle, so it means now you need to take it slowly again. So taking it slowly, it means you need now to do the stretches. Now you activate again the muscle.
Just look at what she's doing. Doesn't that look a bit intense for someone who got an injury?
It's not intense. It's a matter of practice.
All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. A matter of practice. You also spoke about gyms and how important it is for someone to get a trainer, especially if they want to avoid injuries. Then does that mean that for you to exercise or do body workouts, it just has to be in a gym setup?
No. Now that's where the Couple of Fitness Online is coming.
All right.
Yeah, you can now check us online, and then you can request, and then now we give you like a full package. Now we'll tell you need to do this, you need to. Yeah, we'll be guiding you. That's where we come now. Yes.
So that means at least you can be able to work out even outside.
Yeah, you can even work out indoors. Yeah.
All right. So. For the best kind of workout indoors or in a home setup, which one will it be, or how would it look like? Because I want to believe it's going to be different, when you're working at home and when you're going to the gym.
Yeah, it's different. Most of the home workouts, it's all about body workouts. Body workout means now you're using your own body as a weight. So whenever I'm doing the biceps curl, I'm lifting my own weight. Yes. And when I'm in the gym, I'm using the dumbbells. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think maybe you can just at least help us understand, maybe just give us some examples of the one kind of exercises that one can do inside the house.
Exercise, you can do any exercise in the house as much as you create some space. What I can say is it's important to put on the proper sport shoes when you're in the house, because you see in the gym we have the big rubbers to help you not get knee injuries and for the shocks. So in the house you need to make sure, first thing is to put on a proper sport shoes. A proper sport shoes means a sport shoes which has a big heel. Yes.
So what you're saying is that the right gear is also important.
It's very, very, very important.
Is this just in the case of shoes, but or the entire outfit?
I'll speak for shoes, because now the shoes, most injuries comes from the knee. Yeah, when you put on a wrong sport shoes, you can squat or you can do something, and then now all the pressure come to the knee. Yeah.
All the pressure comes to the knee.
Yeah.
So then how does one go about choosing the right kind of shoes? What are you supposed to be looking at?
I think we have sport shoes online. You can just check. You can even check with Enda Sport Shoes. And then now they can recommend a good sport shoes for you. It's always good nowadays to inquire. Before doing something, you just inquire. Mostly for fitness, always inquire. It's very important. Yeah.
So inquire.
Yeah.
So even as you talk about the right sport shoes, and you mentioned the ones that are really right for a gym setup.
Yeah.
What about the workouts in a home? Because I want to believe that we're also talking about for those that cannot go to gym, maybe cannot afford a gym, but they still feel I want to keep fit and I can only do this in the house.
Yeah.
What kind of gear or sportswear am I looking at?
You can put on a short, you can put on a tight for a lady. As much as you're comfortable with the gear, it's good. And it's always important to keep warm when you're working out. Yeah. So what I can say, just put warm and be like it's easy when you're working out. Because you see, if I put on something that I'm not comfortable with, all my mind will be on my attire, not my workouts. Yes.
All your mind will be on the attire and not the workout. So when you say keeping warm, is it like the jacket?
Yeah, you can put a sweat jacket. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, what about breakfast? Because sometimes someone would say, I feel like I want to skip breakfast so that I lose weight, or I don't have to work out as intensely as I'd work out, because at least I'm skipping a meal. Is that necessary? What would you say about that?
What I can say, before starting a workout, it's always important to do assessment. Assessment means you now know your metabolism. You'll now know your metabolic age. So it's always important to know. Once you know everything about that, is when now you can know, I'll do this diet, or I'll do this workout, or I'll do. Because you see, someone can be big and it can be like training for 1 year or 2 years, but he or she will never reduce. It's not all about going to the gym. It's not about what. It's all about you don't know yourself. You need to go and do an assessment. It's very important. So what I'll advise most of the clients is, before going to the gym, that's why you see so many people, they pay this gym, they pay another gym, they pay another gym. Yeah. So the problem is not the gym, the problem is you. You need to do an assessment. And the best way to do an assessment is to go into a healthy you and do a full assessment, so that it can now guide you to whatever target you want to reach. Yes.
Okay, very briefly, how does this health assessment then look like?
It's all about your metabolic age and your metabolism. Yeah.
So at least it helps you understand where
it helps you understand. Whoever you'll get there will explain what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to not to do, what you're supposed to eat, what you're not supposed to eat.
Okay.
Yes.
But then that does not remove the fact that you need to be skipping breakfast.
Yeah, that's.
Or what would you say as a fitness coach?
What I can say, you can skip breakfast, but you can eat.
Breakfast.
Yeah, but you can eat maybe at 12. Okay. You can eat maybe heavy, and then in the evening you eat light, or you eat earlier. Yes.
Okay.
So don't eat and go to sleep immediately. Yeah.
Oh, then what is the bad side of that? Eating and then going to sleep immediately.
Yeah, you'll be lazy. What I can say, you'll be lazy, very lazy.
So there's no way in which it affects your body, just makes you lazy as a person?
And then now, the digestion system now will be slow and slow and slow. Yeah.
So that is the downside of eating.
So you need to eat early, and then stay for a while, like an hour, 2 hours, and then now go and rest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about one last exercise, the Russian
twist.
Russian twist.
Yes.
Russian twist. I'd want Angelica to demonstrate for us that one before we get to talk about it briefly as we try to wind up.
Okay.
So that is the Russian. Why that name, by the way? The Russian twist.
We got it there.
We found it. So this is the Russian twist.
Yes.
Okay. And again, also for this one, there's a beginners and an advanced.
Yeah.
So what Angelica is doing, is it beginners or is it advanced?
That is advanced. For beginners, you should put just your legs straight, and then Angelica will show us. Yeah.
So, okay, that is the beginners one, the one where her legs are straight.
Yes.
And she's doing that.
Yes.
Again, also this also for both men and women, I want to believe.
Yes.
Yeah. And how does it help one's body?
Yeah, it's for core and it's for obliques muscles. Yeah.
Which are these obliques muscles?
These ones.
Okay, so that one is for the core and for those
for the sides. Side tummy. Yes.
And for the reps, for beginners, what would you recommend?
I'd recommend 15 reps for a beginner to do a Russian twist. And for advanced, I'd recommend like 30 reps onwards.
30 reps onwards.
Yes.
It looks tough because you have to like sit in a certain way.
Yeah, you need to lay back a bit, and then you twist it side to side. You'll just feel it. It really burns. Yeah.
Does it also help in terms of flattening the tummy?
Yeah.
Okay.
It does so much. Yes.
So much. Now let's talk about the tools that one can use for exercise when they are in the house. Because remember we're talking about workouts and COVID-19.
Yes.
And when you're touching on COVID-19, is because of that idea that we have so much time in the house or in a home setup. So which kind of tools can one use for workouts or exercise in the house? Okay.
First, we'll start with the yoga mat. It's important to get a yoga mat. If you cannot afford a yoga mat, use your carpet. Yeah. Second, you can use water bottles. If you can even buy dumbbells. And what I can recommend, you can buy 1 kg dumbbell when you want to lose weight and tone. You can use 1 kg, 2 kg, 3 kgs. And when you want to build muscles, use 5 kgs onwards. Yeah. And then maybe if you can afford, get a spinning bike. Yeah. Or if you cannot get a spinning bike, you can, I know so many people have bikes outside there. You can just do some laps and you're good. Yeah. So also cycling and doing some laps can also be part of good exercise? It really helps, yes. What does it help with? Your cardio, heart rate, and now it will, like your lungs will expand. You can hold a lot of breath. Yeah. It's not that you're going to the gym and you're Look like you've been working out forever. And you just began. Exactly. All right, you talked about carpets, probably the mats. Which is the best kind, of carpets to use when you're doing workouts? Because you also don't want to hurt yourself while doing any push-ups or whichever kind of exercise that one wants to do. Yeah, I'll just come back to what I said. Sport shoes. When you have carpet or not, sport shoes is the thing. So if you have proper sport shoes, you can work out even without a carpet. Is that so? Yes. When you have good sport shoes, you can do the knee-ups, you can do the jumping jacks. Without a carpet, and you're okay. Somewhere to No, I'm talking about now the basic exercises. The basic but now when you want to do like core workout, and maybe you want to do like sit-ups or something, is when now you'll need the carpet to lay on. Yeah. But ideally what you're saying is that it is very important for people to invest in shoes. Yes, it's very, very important. And we also had a similar story this morning on the Standard where they were saying that the right set of sport shoes is good, but also they were going ahead to explain that different shoes with different legs or different legs need different kind of sport shoes. Is that the case, and how do you go about then knowing, because you really emphasize so much on shoes even in a home setup? So what I can say, just give yourself a test. Buy a sport shoes, work out with it like 1 week, you'll feel the impact. When you feel your knee is hurting, that means that sport shoes is not good. When you feel you're comfortable with the sport shoes, that means that's the correct sport shoes. Yes.
So it's a matter of like try and test.
Yeah,
and
now
see.
try, because now we don't have a company where you can go and just put on shoes and say this is okay. Yeah.
Let me sit with this for a week and
Yeah,
see
yeah.
how it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's all about trying and testing and see
yeah.
what works for you and how
Yes.
you can go
Yeah.
go about it.
Yes.
Now, finally, when you talk about exercising and body workouts, what is the major advantage of working out, of exercising?
Everyone wants to keep fit. Everyone wants to look good. So the benefits is you'll be healthy, and again, you'll look nice. Everyone will admire you for sure. And again, whatever we are eating nowadays is not like the food we were eating
Back in the day.
back in the days. Nowadays is yeah,
Very
and you're
fast.
done. So you need to know which exercise helps you in your heart rate. You need to know which exercise helps you in toning. So in heart rate, I'll insist on heart rate because now you see nowadays our lungs are so small.
Yeah.
You see, because now we eat a lot of junk food. So you need to do a lot of cardio exercise to expand your lungs. You need to be fit from the inside, is when you'll be fit from the outside. Yes.
Wow, I think that then is a good place to wrap it up. You need to be fit from the inside
yes.
before you can be fit in the outside. And
yes.
does that mean also the kind of food that we take, is also very important?
It's also very important, yes.
Yeah, and we should also need to be looking at what we are eating, not just saying, I'll just work out. To exercise.
Exactly. Okay. I can say again, swimming is good, very good. You see,
that
now
is
swimming.
Part of exercise.
Yeah. It's full body workout, okay. And again, it's a therapy. Because you see now you're stretching full body. I can be stretching. I can be doing my standing stretches, but the one swimming is doing more stretches than me, because now you see, whenever he's doing the strokes, he's stretching all part of the body and the legs are kicking. So swimming is very important. Because you'll not get an injury in a pool. Okay? Yeah. So you'll be just swimming and you'll be sure you're okay. Yeah. So I can recommend people at least to do a swimming session once a week or twice a week. It helps 100%. The heart rate, it goes 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So that has been Stephen Okoth, a fitness coach and CEO Decoplofit, talking to us about workouts, exercising, and COVID-19, how best you can just keep your body fit during this time when you are at home. But that is how we wrap Good Morning Kenya this Wednesday morning. Join us again tomorrow morning for another edition of the same. From me and on behalf of the entire team that made this show a success, we say thank you so much for watching. Till tomorrow morning, my name is Doreen Arange. Stay safe, be good to one another. Good morning.